Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family, and we chose this one. This is episode 244, Fast and Furious 6, Lap 11. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by D.B. Cooper. D.B. Cooper was a media epithet used to refer to an unidentified man who hijacked Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305. Shout out to the best airplane thief ever, D.B. Cooper.
Well, shout out to D.B. Cooper, and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. After the break, we'll be talking about Fast and Furious 6 with Ify Nwadiwe. But Joe, extracurricular activities. It's been like a month since our last regular episode. What have you been up to in the last month?
I have a couple cool things that I've been up to that I think are fun. I posted pictures about it on social media, but my dad brought his 1954 Chevy 210 to be garaged at my house, so I have the car in my garage. I feel like we can officially start the podcast now. True.
Okay, so we will erase the last 244 plus the Patreon episodes and start anew right now.
We started new. We have a cool car. That's what I'm saying. So that's been a lot of fun. I have it in the garage. We were like cleaning the upholstery on it and stuff like that. I'm stoked. It's just a fun thing to have and to play with, and it being summertime, I'm excited to drive it around all over the place. Recently, last week, I went to go see Sir Paul McCartney.
I saw that, yes.
In concert, and it was a blast. I've seen Paul McCartney before. He opened the PPG Paints Arena. He was the first act.
Is that in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, that ever played there, like where the Penguins play. He was the first act to, like, he was the inaugural opening.
So that seems like a much small. I mean, it's still an arena, but it seems like a much smaller arena than MetLife, right?
Yeah, PPG Paints is like 17,000. MetLife, is what, like 80. But I mean, even with the stage kind of blocked off, whatever, for both of them, factor like 75-80% capacity. It's much, much bigger there. But he did like a couple nights at PPG Paints when he went. But either way, Rachel had never gone to see Sir Paul McCartney, so we were really excited. We went to go see Sir Paul McCartney, and she's going to the we cut out in the middle of it for a second to go to the bathroom, because we're like, okay, we're about halfway through, and she comes back from the bathroom. She's like, oh, I just heard the security guard say Bruce Springsteen is here, and we're like, oh, that's cool, wonder where he's sitting, he must be a big fan of Paul McCartney's. Sure. And we're like, oh, that's really interesting. We had no idea, but then later, about an hour later, obviously Bruce Springsteen comes out and plays songs. So he plays Glory Days and stuff with Paul McCartney, and we didn't even factor in that he was probably going to play songs like idiots. So we got to see him play a couple songs with Paul McCartney, which I think is really awesome. And then Jon Bon Jovi came out because Paul McCartney's 80th birthday was Saturday. So Jon Bon Jovi came out with a bunch of balloons that he let up into the speakers on the stage and led everyone to sing Happy Birthday to Paul McCartney. So it was like weird happenstance, but it was a lot of fun, and I was really glad that I got to go see Paul McCartney again, because this was his last show in the U.S. For this tour. But being 80 years old, I don't know how many more U.S. tours he's gonna do. So
for sure,
I was pretty stoked on that.
I had other friends there that night, and they said that the place obviously went nuts when Bruce came out, and then when Bon Jovi came out, people were just like, "All right, what's happening?"
I was saying to Rachel, and at the end, he was like, thanks to, everyone in my band tonight, and thanks to Bruce Springsteen coming out tonight, and anybody else I forgot about, and, he did, and so, we had a running joke on the way home that, Paul McCartney just hates Bon Jovi, and they're, secretly not friends, and, Bon Jovi just, showed up and, crashed.
Did you, surprise him? Was it, did it seem because obviously the Bruce thing to come out and do songs was planned, but, did it seem like the Bon Jovi thing was, spontaneous, or was it something that Paul McCartney knew about?
No, I don't know. It I
don't know if that's an easy answer, a question to answer. I have no idea.
He came out and did it, and then at the end, Paul McCartney knew who he was. He was and that was Jon Bon Jovi, and everybody was oh, he confirmed it if you couldn't see or whatever. So he knew who Bon Jovi was. Maybe Paul McCartney didn't know what was happening, but it was planned for sure. He didn't stage crash, right? So That was my most recent, most memorable fun times. But I know you had a lot that went on, and I want to hear all about it because I've been not asking you about it because I want to
Yes.
hear about it. So tell me.
Well, so before I left, before I took my my European vacation, I saw Top Gun Maverick, and then Mike and I did an episode that night, and we put it out, and it was great. So, have you seen Top Gun Maverick or no?
No, but because I feel like everyone is playing a joke on me that this is
No,
like
man,
the
it's great.
greatest. I know, like everybody I trust, everybody, and people I don't trust are saying like, no, this is like one of the greatest movies, whatever. Everybody's saying it, and I'm like, I feel like people are playing a long con on me that this movie is this good. I can't believe it. But go ahead.
Well, like it's in my top 5 cruise movies. Like it's still like killing the box office. It's so good. Like what I said on the podcast is that it did not surprise me a single time. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I loved every second of it. Like there's nothing about it where I'm just
Okay.
like, oh, I didn't think that. Like, oh, that's a surprise ending. Oh, that's a twist that I didn't see coming. Like none of that was true, but I still loved it entirely, and I think it's great. And Cruise until the last like 10 years. Obviously, we did Cruise Club, me and Mike. Other than Mission Impossible, he never really did a sequel, and he always talked about like how he didn't want to do a sequel to like a movie like Top Gun unless the story was good. And the story is great, and like I think it works, and it's timely, and it's just the action is good, and they're all actually flying the planes, and it's super cool, man. So, in this era where everything goes to home video like quickly, I think they're gonna like keep this out there because it's already Tom Cruise's biggest movie ever, and it's killing the box office. And so I think if you're gonna want to see it. Like, especially with 4th of July 2 weeks out, like, it's not going to be in theater. It's still going to be in theaters then, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
I don't know
cool.
when it'll come, but yeah, it's good. It's good. So, do that thing.
Is it as good as Morbius or not?
Well, I mean, there was something, I don't remember what it was. It said Morbius actually finally had a win. Like, it was on some, it might have been like Voodoo or something. It was like some platform where just like people actually paid to rent it or something.
Because
like,
of the
everywhere.
memes online.
Well, because you know that they put it, that Sony put it back in theaters. So they're like, oh my God,
Of the
so many
memes.
people are tweeting about it.
Yes.
And then no one went to see it. And it's like, yeah, because nobody actually likes it. People just like making fun of it.
Did you see?
So-
Did you see the meme that? Did you see the meme that was like, "Sorry, we were busy last weekend. Do it one more time."
Well, there's that whole meme going around now that we could. It's not if it was a different thing, we should do it. But like, there's that. I didn't see the original one, but there was the original one's like she's a 6, but blah blah blah, and then there's the whole
Yeah.
like she's a 10, but blah blah blah, and it's like, well, she's a 10, but she likes Morbius or something. Like, you could do something like something like. There's got to be people who have done that. But was there another movie that I saw after I got back, or no? Did I? Oh, I saw Crimes of the Future, which is the new Cronenberg movie, which is really, really good too. That's also, I think, already on the home video or whatever. So that's also cool. It's kind of weird, creepy body horror. But yes, the reason that we took 3 weeks off, that we did the commentaries, is because I was in Europe for 2 weeks for the
Yes.
Primavera Music Festival.
How was it?
So I flew out on Memorial Day. It was great. I was exhausted the entire time, but I had a blast. So I flew out on Memorial Day, and I spent 1 day in Lisbon because I connected through Lisbon on Air Portugal. And so I just like a stopover there for a day. And have you been to Lisbon or Barcelona?
I have been to Barcelona, never Lisbon. I've never flown.
Portugal?
No, it's on my to-do list for sure. But no, I have not been to Portugal. No.
Because when I was having my barbecue here and Brian, late night slumber party, Rodriguez was here, he's like, when you're in Barcelona, you have to go to this bar. It has the best gin and tonic in the world. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, do you have any other recommendations? He's like, no, but Kyle obviously has a bunch. So I messaged the Fruity Films man himself, Kyle Reinfried, and I was like, hey, I'm going to Lisbon for a day and Barcelona for like 2 weeks. Like, what would you recommend? And so he gave me like this whole long list of things. He's like, if you're only going to be in Lisbon for a day, go to Time Out Market. Do you know about the Time Out Markets? Have you heard of these?
No, what is it? Describe it. Maybe I do know.
They're all over. They're all over the world. I think he talked to either the founder or the person who runs one of them. I think there's one in New York. There's like in big cities. They're basically curated kind of like food courts of local vendors, but they're like only good things. Like they're only things that like
Top
get
tier.
4 or 5 stars from local food reviewers or whatever. And so it's this kind of like open food court kind of thing, but like all just great food. And like they have probably like 50 or 60 stalls. And there's also like you can buy some like non-food stuff there too, but it's kind of like a beer hall and kind of just all this food.
Where are some of the
And
other
so-
ones, by the way? Do you know off the top of your head?
Time Out. Hold on, let's see here. There is one in Lisbon, which I said, Miami, New York, Boston, Chicago, Montreal, Dubai, and they're opening one in London and Prague. So there's a
I
bunch
have
of
to
them.
hit the Boston one soon. That's not okay. Go ahead.
So it's like kind of like a greatest hits, like you
Yeah,
know, when
yeah.
when I was in Scotland for a wedding and we went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, we're like, we want to see a show, but it's like, well, this is like the trailer show. It's where like 8 different acts do like 5 minutes. It's like, hey, come see our whole thing. But we're like, we're only here for like 4 hours, so like let's go do that. So it's like here, you can't see the whole city in a day, really. So come here and try like 3 or 4 different things. So the food there was great. The city is beautiful. The entire time I was in Europe, both Lisbon and Barcelona, it was like 75 degrees and sunny.
Beautiful.
And like by the end, I was just like, I kind of miss rain in a way, because like it's just
No.
a little bit where I was just like, this is like, it's so nice all the time.
Yeah.
It never rained. It got cloudy, I think, one afternoon, then cleared up. I was just like, this is crazy, man. So then the next day I flew to Barcelona, and the festival there is Thursday, Friday, Saturday instead of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I went for both weekends. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Cool.
2 weeks in a row.
Cool.
And the night before, so the day that I flew to Barcelona, Wednesday, June 1st, and then the 4 days in between, so Sunday the 5th through Wednesday the 8th, they had access to what they called Primavera a la Ciutat, which is just like shows in town. So there are all these
kind of
different
like
venues.
when they do not Austin City Limits, but what's the other one that they do?
South by. Yeah,
South
yeah.
by, when they have all the shows in between. Yeah, okay.
So it would be like South by if like South by happened while Austin City Limits was happening, where it's like there's an official festival, and then in between, some of the same bands and some different bands are just playing in town.
You know what this reminds me of is like Miami Music Week and then leads to Ultra, right? Where it's
Sure,
like
yeah.
everybody's like at a club every night and they're all there the whole time, and it's like they do the awards or whatever, but like it just leading up to Ultra at the end of it, and then everybody plays Ultra. Yeah, okay,
Right.
cool.
And so the way that it was working with a lot of these artists was that they would either do like one weekend and Ciutat, or Ciutat and the other weekend, or like, because it was rare that people would play both weekends. I mean, there were some that did. It was basically like, hey, we're in Barcelona for 4 days. We're going to play 2 shows. We're going to play the official festival. We're going to play like a club or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was cool. It was really cool. So I saw, I think in like the 10 days or 11 days of music, I think I saw like 50 artists or something. Like, it was crazy. And the music
That's a
was
ton.
all incredible.
Good.
Like I did not see a single bad band.
Good. Favorite band?
I mean, The Smile, so the Radiohead spin-off project, The Smile, was incredible. DJ Shadow was incredible. I was sending you guys videos of that, because
Yes.
obviously DJ Shadow has he played the song from Tokyo Drift.
And I'm a huge DJ Shadow fan. I was pushing Joey really hard to go see him. I think that he's like arguably the most technically best DJ alive.
incredible.
Like one of the top 3, if not. So if you ever get a chance to see DJ Shadow, even if that's not your speed, he's awesome. It's really, really cool. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes, it was great. I'm gonna run through because I made a list. I'm like, I'm never gonna remember what I did or who I saw if I don't write it down. So I just like wrote down who I saw. So the night before, I saw Rina Sawayama, who was great. She's kind of like girl pop mashed up with new metal. Like, it's really weird and good, but like very cool. And then the first day of the festival, who I really loved was Casey Musgraves was great. Charlie XCX was great. And then DJ Shadow was obviously incredible. The next day I saw Wet Leg, who was awesome. Beck was good. The National was good.
I hate the National.
You hate The National?
Yeah, that's a band that I don't like. I've seen them live, like at a music festival too, and I was just like, "This is bad." I think they were playing before Kanye too, so like we like got to the stage.
Well, that's a weird.
It
blend.
was
So
it was the Jay-Z festival, like the America. What was it? Something in America, like
Made in America, maybe.
maybe I forget, but like I remember we went to go see, and like the National was playing beforehand, and I was like, I do not like this music. But okay, sorry, that was just my weird tangent.
No. And so what was cool about this festival that I've never seen before was that the main stages, there were like 2 main stages, but they were side by side. And so normally, like when I went to ACL or to Lala or to Coachella or wherever, like there's like the headliners are always like basically on at the same time, but they're like across the park from each other.
Yeah.
And the 2 main stages were side by side, and they weren't ever going at the same time because like it would just be chaos. So they would have a band go, and then 5 or 10 minutes in between, and then the next one goes. So there's almost no downtime, and it was incredible.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
They themed it really well. That like one night was all kind of like 90s guitar rock. One was a lot of just like dancey stuff. One was like, dance and hip hop and whatever. And so it was cool. And there's a couple other like stages that kind of paired off that weren't as close. Like you could literally stay where you were and not move and see both, which was great. But there were a couple others that were like sort of stages that were kind of sort of next to each other that you could like go back and forth between. But this was so cool. So I'm like, oh, there's no way that maybe we'll see all these artists. I'm like, wait a minute, they're side by side. I can just see everything. The downside, the only thing I can really complain about with the show, it was really, really crowded because they had sold tickets for 2020 and obviously canceled that because of COVID. And so I think they had all those rollover tickets and then they sold more for this time. And so it just was crowded as hell. And I have nothing to compare to there, but people were just like, there's so many people here. And like, it was chaos trying to move around the first day because like there were just so many people there. But the only thing I can really complain about, and just because it's different from American festivals, is that I bought a VIP ticket because... Not that it was like bougie, but like the 2-weekend pass was like $800.
Yeah.
But a VIP for the 2 weekends was like $1,000. Like it was wildly close in price.
Yeah.
For the 2 weekends. I'm just like, oh, like why would I not do that? Even if I don't really know what it includes, it's not that much more money. I'm flying to Europe. I'm there for 2.5 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go all out. And so in America, an American film festival or music festivals, the VIP section is like right by the stage.
Right
there. So there's the whole crowd, and there's like the sort of gated off area, and that's where the VIP is, and like in front of that's like music, like the photographers or whatever. So I'm like, oh, that's gonna be cool. The VIP section was behind the crowd. So there's like, 150 feet or whatever where just like anybody can go. So like I could also go too, because like it's just, general admission, anybody who's there. But then there's a VIP section that's gated off that only VIPs can get in there. I was like, oh, like I thought I was gonna be like really up front and up close, and I wasn't. And like I got close for like Casey Musgraves, like I was on the rail for her because I got there early.
I would still love this though. Just if you're saying it's super packed and stuff, like
the benefit to this, like so it was a bummer. Like I was bummed that like there wasn't like the main stage was the only place where the VIP worked. So I thought there would be a VIP at like every stage, but there's only just the one. But the benefit to this was that you could leave much more easily. Like you don't have to fight crowds to get out because it's basically you're sort of behind the bulk of the people.
Yep.
And so if you're trying to get to another band or trying to leave at the end of the night or whatever, you can just get out smoothly. So I was like, this is kind of worth it for that. There were like bathrooms and drinks and stuff that were only in there, but like there weren't enough. And so it wasn't like, it probably was actually quicker to get a drink or go to the bathroom outside of VIP. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
It was great. Like that was the only thing I could really complain about. The VIP was not as cool as I wanted to. But then the third day of the festival, who I loved, I saw this band Automatic, which is this 3-piece girl band from LA, who was awesome. I saw Carolyn Polachek, who was great. Saw part of Gorillaz, and I saw them the second weekend. But then I saw Beach House.
Beach House is cool. Gorillaz is great.
And then I saw a little bit of Disclosure. I'm like, I'm too tired. Because the other thing is I sort of assumed that the festival hours would be sort of like 12 to 12-ish. Like, that's a lot of American festivals, or like Coachella, because in the desert goes to like 2. This was starting at 4 or 5, and the main stuff ended at 3, but like there were DJs playing to like 6 or 7. Like, it was so much later. And I basically stayed on like Eastern time. Like, I was getting back to my hotel at 4 or 5 in the morning, exhausted, but I was also sleeping until like noon or 1. So like I would still get like 7 or 8 hours of sleep. It was just like all shifted later in the day. But I'm like, oh fuck, like okay, so the Smile is playing at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like I guess I'll have to figure out a way to stay up. But like you just sort of do that. Like it was
because you're on the same, but that's the same time. That would be like what, like 6 or 8 here, right?
It was 6 hours, yeah. So like I was messaging you like when DJ Shadow came on at 3:15, but it's like 9:15 here. Just
yeah. So it's not that bad, yeah.
So, but it's like late in the night for me. But like what was cool is I would just like sleep in, hang in my hotel room, watch TV for like 2 hours, because I just like downloaded a bunch of stuff off like Netflix and Hulu and whatever, watch TV for a while, go have a cool meal, go to the music festival for like 10 hours, come back and do the whole thing over again. It was great. Then on Sunday, I went to the Picasso Museum, which was very, very cool.
Picasso or the Picasso Museum?
Picasso Museum.
Okay, go ahead.
And then I got the gin and tonic from La Alcoba Azul, which is where Brian said to go. It was really good. Yeah, they had a bunch of them. And I had made friends the first weekend, and they were big drinkers, which was fun. And they were like very big into gin and tonics just at the festival. I'm like, oh, if you want the best one, my friend says it's the best one. And they agreed. Like they appreciated that it was really good. But they're like, oh, get this one. This one's gonna be really good. Add this, like, you could upsell or whatever to like better tonic. Like do all this, and it was delicious. Like I'm not a big like hard liquor person, but like it was great.
Wait, so it was like different tonics, I mean, like...
So there are 2 tonics. There's like a regular tonic you could like upgrade to like a nicer tonic. Oh. And then there were like a bunch of different gins with a bunch of different like flavors and everything. Like there were probably like 8 or 10 different gin and tonics that they had. And like I was just like, I don't even know where to begin. But they like pointed me in the right direction. I had 2 and they were enormous. They were delicious. So awesome. Shout out to them. Then I saw that night an artist called Elle Devine, who's like this British pop star who's like probably like 22 or something. And she was awesome.
Best food.
Monday, best
That's what I really care about. Like, what was like your best meal? Tell me what was like.
What was my best meal?
Or just like even like most memorable food. What were you eating that you were like, oh shit, this was really, really good?
I'm looking through, so I had a lot of tapas. I had like a bunch of croquettes and stuff, which are delicious.
Yeah, of course.
I went to, my friend was like, go to McDonald's. It's crazy over there. And like they had the fanciest McDonald's I've ever had. Like that's not, super memorable.
I
but,
always, so Matt would get on me about this too, that like, when we were in like Germany, I was like, "Oh shit, we haven't hit a McDonald's yet," and he was like, "What? Like, why are we gonna go to McDonald's?" Like, dude, have you ever been to McDonald's in Europe? And he was like, "No." I was like, "Here we go," and I took him in, and we got like all there's just like wacky bunch of different menu options, stuff like that. I think that it's funny to hit a McDonald's for one shit meal.
Yeah.
When you're away, just to be like, oh my god, like I got the shrimp burger and the
it was,
whatever.
It was right before. Yeah, it was right before I was going to the Picasso Museum. I'm like, I need to figure out where to go. And like, I was like, I want to go to McDonald's, and like, I literally got off the subway, the metro, and it was like right at a McDonald's. I'm like, well, I guess this is just what I'm gonna have today, and it was great. I went to this place called Surf House Barcelona, which Kyle recommended, which is just kind of like, it's like I could have had like 8 different things. Like I'm not a big seafood person,
yes.
So I don't know that I had seafood over there, but like that's like the thing they get in Barcelona, because it's all super fresh and delicious. So I didn't have a ton of that, but this place had like all kinds of breakfast foods and just like all the foods that like I love. And I had a really, really good burger and a really good beer there. The beer over there is all incredible. There was this place between my hotel and the festival that I walked to, because like I booked a hotel, a 15-minute walk from the venue.
Okay.
Because I knew that like I was gonna be exhausted. I didn't want to like wait in line for a bus or figure out public or like whatever. And so I just walked there. But like between me and there was this place called, it was an Argentinian grill, and I had like banging fajitas there, and I had a steak there one day, and I had something else, maybe a burger there too, and it was all just delicious. Like it was like this really good quality meat place.
Cool. That
was just awesome. Oh, the best meal I probably had was at this place called Restaurant Salamanca that Kyle loves and that my boss loves. Because my boss would go to Mobile World Congress over there, which is like the cell phone show that they used to have every year there. And they're both like, you can't not go to this place. And so I went there and I got jamon and melon. And so just like, like a honeydew or cantaloupe, whatever the green one is, and just like coated in like delicious jamon, and then tomato bread, which is kind of like sort of
bruschetta.
Bruschetta. Yeah. No, it's like that, but it's like it's less fresh, I think, but it was still delicious. And I had a really great salad there, and it's just like I had jamon in like 3 or 4 different places. I'm just like, I want like all this spiced ham, like it's all delicious.
Yeah, exactly. Cured meats for sure.
Empanadas I had that were awesome. I had tacos a couple times. Like tacos are not like, I sort of dumbly conflated like Mexican cuisine with Spanish, and like Spanish people don't do tacos, but like I had tacos in a couple different places. But like tapas big over there, seafood big over there, paella good over there. I had paella once. It was good. Very, very good. Food was good. Oh, I went to the La Sagrada Familia, the Gaudi church.
Yes,
which was
it's still
enormous.
Being built.
It's still being built. I don't know that it'll ever be finished because he worked on it for like 70 years and he died. And that was a long time ago. Like he died in the 70s, and it's still being built, but it was incredible. It was amazing, enormous. He also did this park called like Park Güell, where he like, again, like it's like, I don't know what the type, it's like this like kind of architecture and like just this patterning where it's like sort of mosaic tiling and stuff, and just like super cool. And it was just like everything over there was beautiful. I went to the Moco Museum also, which is, they had one in Amsterdam and they had this one here. It's
what
like
is Moco?
Modern contemporary art.
Oh, okay.
And so in Amsterdam, they had a huge Banksy exhibit, which was very cool. Here they had some Banksy, but I'm just like, this is sort of whatever. But the cool thing about the Moco here, and I want to make sure I get the guy's name right, because I was like, I don't know this artist. I'm not very cultured when it comes to art. This guy, Guillermo Lorca.
Okay.
Look up this guy. Hold on, I'm going to send you a picture. This guy, so what I really love when I was in Amsterdam and like London, where I want to go to like really cool museums and stuff, is I love like old kind of gothic-y, like old timey, like religious, like just, but terrifying like depictions of hell and stuff. And this guy, like he's a contemporary artist, but like he paints like he's from the 1800s or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's all cool. Like really creepy, like big ass dogs and cats and like just like these little girls that like are either like getting killed by the things or like bathed. Like it's just this weird, crazy thing. And they have these murals there that are like 10 feet tall by like 30 feet wide. Like they're enormous.
Yeah.
And they had like 2 entire rooms devoted to this guy. And I was like, this is so cool. And so I bought a book of his art to like bring home.
Very cool.
And like, it was just super, super cool. I love that.
Yep.
But I was like, that's really cool. Cause like the Banksy stuff was really cool in Amsterdam. I was kind of like let down by it there, but I found this guy and I'm just like, this is Awesome.
Banksy stuff is funny because Banksy never wanted any of his museum and arts. I mean, like his art in museums. Sorry, he always like frowns upon them being in galleries.
Well, you know about the like, you might have even told me this, that his whole like, if you think you find a Banksy, you like let them know and they sent you half of a dollar bill or something, like half of a Banksy, like one of the Queen dollar bills that he made. And then if you like, you send them the art and like, you just don't get the art back. But like, if it was real, you get the other half of the bill, but like, you still don't get the art back. So like, it's this whole like.
No, I didn't know this. That's pretty cool.
It's something like, it's like that, where it's just like, he doesn't want the things out, like he wants it out in the world, but he wants it to go away or not be like, you know, put in a museum or whatever. So like, he just sends out like half of a bill, to, like say the right half of this bill to everybody. And then if you have a full bill, it's like you actually found a real Banksy, but like you don't get the thing back. So like, it's either like, you can you can keep a thing that like might be a Banksy or might be a stencil or whatever, or you like have a full bill, but like, it's just like, what, it's bragging, but it's like, it's not cool to have, I don't know. It's
yeah.
Weird, but
yeah.
It's cool. Also great, Interpol, Gorillaz, Dua Lipa, The Strokes, Lord, The Smile, I said.
Lord.
Megan Thee Stallion, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs were awesome. Like, everybody, like, all these, like, bands, like, I never heard of, too, were just super, super cool. Like, I saw, like, 50 artists, and, like, none were bad. And I was just like, this is incredible. So, like, I would love to go back. It's wildly expensive to go there for 2 weeks, though. And next year, they're splitting it between Barcelona and Madrid.
Oh,
which I don't know if they've ever done it before, but one weekend's in Barcelona, one's in Madrid. So
that's cool.
I don't know how that's going to work, but I don't think I can afford this kind of vacation 2 years in a row. But, you know, also, like, I took so much time off from work, and my boss is like, you know, I'm glad you could go, like, you deserved it, but, like, you know, we missed you. Like, there's a lot of things you could have been helping with or whatever. So
yeah,
they didn't say that in a bad way. It's just like, you know, I was very appreciative and lucky that I got to go for so long. But
that's
awesome. I hope you all listeners enjoyed all of the commentaries we did, because they're fun to do.
They were fun. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, and then when I came back, the night that you saw Paul McCartney, I saw Phoebe Bridgers, because she played in Queens. So she played in Asbury the Monday before I got back, and then she played 2 shows in, like, Manhattan, I think, and then she played at this place called, have you been to, or do you know about Forest Hills in Queens?
No, I have no idea what this is.
It's like a tennis stadium, or like a tennis arena, and, like,
Is it right next to City?
I don't think so. Like, it's in like a neighborhood. I don't know. It might be like 2 blocks away from. I don't know.
No, there's one like in the same. There's a tennis state like it's Arthur Ashe. Yeah,
I think it's Arthur Ashe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see your City Field, Forest Hills. Walking, it's like three miles away, so it's not really super close at all.
No, okay. I was just thinking of the one that's like in the same parking lot of City Field. I was like, did you happen to wind up there? And like, you would have definitely seen City Field.
Man, I took the wrong route there, because like it took me an hour 10 minutes to get home, and to get there, because it was rush hour when I was leaving, it was going to take 2 hours. But I took the Lincoln Tunnel, and there was an accident there, so it took me to get from my house to Queens, New York, which again took me an hour 10 minutes to get home. It took me 3.5 hours to get there.
That's fun. That's a lot of fun.
It was absolute misery. It was terrible.
On that note, when we went to go see Paul McCartney, like, because we know this, you know, we're leaving from Connecticut, and, like, if a concert starts at, like, 8 or something, like, you're just destined to hit rush hour traffic. We left at, like, noon, cruised in, no one there, got there, sat in the parking lot, drank beers, were, like, one of the first peoples in the parking lot, got to hear the sound check from, like, our car. So, like, highly recommended doing that next time. For just like you personally as a tip.
Well, I also like, you know, I think that just next time I just would go through Staten Island or something. Like, I would not take the fucking Lincoln Tunnel. Like, it's terrible. But yes, I thought about it, because like I checked at like 2 o'clock. I left at like, no, I checked at like 1 o'clock.
No matter
so I left at
what
3.
you think, like if you leave afternoon, like if you get to New York around like 3-ish, 4, it's already fucked. Like, it's just way fucked. So
I was a little bummed, because like Phoebe had 2, like Phoebe's one of my all-time favorites, and like she was great. I loved seeing her. But she had 2 openers. She had Muna, who is a band that has an album out this Friday as we're recording. But I've seen Muna open for Phoebe before, and I saw Muna lead a show. So I missed them, but that was fine, because I've seen them twice. But she had this like, she kept hyping this like secret guest. I was like, I want to make sure I see this person. I don't know who it is, because Phoebe like kept promoting the show. She's like, this is a secret guest. You're going to want to be here for this, whatever. And there were rumors that it was going to be Boy Genius. So Phoebe's part of this band called Boy Genius with Julian Baker and Lucy Dacus. It's like this 3-woman band who just makes great music. There's also a rumor, and like they don't tour anymore because they're all like solo artists now. But that, like, they did one show for, like, charity in the fall, and tickets, like, were, like, $900. Like, it was something crazy, because just, like, this is a one-off, and, like, it's for charity, it's, like, crazy. It's, like, it would have been amazing. And there was another rumor that this would be Taylor Swift. And I was like, that would be so weird and it's like unexpectedly cool to just see Taylor Swift. And so I missed Muna. It was Lucy Dacus. So it was one of the Boy Genius people.
Okay.
But she was incredible. And Phoebe came out to sing a couple songs with her. And then Phoebe brought Lucy Dacus out. So like, just like Sir Paul brought out Bruce Springsteen, Phoebe brought out Lucy Dacus. Exactly. And it was great. And it was wonderful. But yeah, that was awesome. Like I was like, all right, so I'm in Europe for 2 weeks to see all music. And I came back and like 2 days later, I saw another concert. And now I have no more live music until like September when I'm seeing like 4 shows in a week. But, you know, it's all good.
Yeah, that's how it works sometimes, man.
And then Bob and I did some How to Win the Lottery, and John and I did 1999 the podcast. So those are all keeping on. But we have an email address, family@cageclub.me. And Joe, we've got a handful of emails to get through now.
Okay.
First up from Montez, almost a month ago now. Subject line, frowny face. I don't remember if we said on the episode, but Montez was supposed to join us for the Muppets episode. And then, as she'll talk about in this email, she was not able to join. So she says, Dear family, I'm super bummed I didn't get to join the episode recording last night. I missed talking to you guys, and I was super hyped. Please know that I'm ready to join any and all episodes, laps, whatever, mainstream or otherwise, in the future. My husband literally trying to impale himself on a tree branch pending. Much love from Virginia, Montez.
Well, you're banned forever, Montez, so I don't know what to tell you.
Montez was like, we were like an hour away from recording, and she's like, so my husband was biking, and a tree branch went into his eye.
Yeah, and she's like, I need to go to the emergency room immediately.
Like, cool, that's fine. Go take care of him. And he's fine. Like, it just,
good,
whatever
I'm
happened,
glad.
like, he got very lucky, but like,
good.
Jesus. I was just like, oh no, because like, eye stuff is like,
bad.
Ugh, I can't deal with eye stuff.
Same.
And I felt bad for her because we were super excited because she was so excited, and she was also watching with her son, who we know likes the Fast and Furious movies, and he was loving the Muppets too, and so she was super excited to join us. It was going to be her main feed debut, and then she could not be there. But she says in parentheses, you'll also be proud to know when my son is running around, he'll now make a tire screech noise, yell drifting, and turn sideways. I'm trying to raise him right over here. So.
Yeah, you got to let him, you got to do it when you're in the shopping cart too, which I'm hoping and assuming you're doing. So
yeah,
that's the best way to do it. Joe,
we got a YouTube comment from Keith, no last name. Want to guess what episode it's about?
Two-lane blacktop.
Two-lane blacktop. Keith just says, what the heck is this? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Well, Keith, it's a podcast. It's in the title. It's right there in the title.
It's right there. Right in front of you, bud.
Shout out, Keith. Thank you for watching and listening.
Do you think Keith puts stickers on gas pumps that say, I did that?
What is that? What is that a reference to?
The boomers that put the Joe Biden stickers on the gas pumps because the prices are high.
Oh, I did not know that, but yeah, probably.
Really? Okay.
Maybe.
It's like a very common thing.
Joe, meet a new $1 patron. Meet Arturo Velasco.
Hello, Arturo. How's that? Wow. Okay.
That is not a name I recognize. I don't think that Arturo has emailed in. Do you recognize Arturo Velasco?
Not at all. No. So welcome aboard, bud.
Thank you for joining. If you want to join, toofast2forever.com gets you to the Patreon. So just go do that thing. But thank you, Arturo, for joining us.
Yes, appreciated, bud.
We have an email from... There's a long one I'm saving for just because it's a longer email. I'm just working through the other ones. Email from Jerry Robinson, subject line, we got it.
Oh, is he talking about Golden State winning?
I don't know. He says, what's going on, guys? Going to give you a small update. After months, more like years of looking and denials, Iliana and I finally have a home to go to just for us.
Oh, cool. That's even bigger news. Very cool.
He says, it's about an hour away from my job, so I'm commuting until I find something closer. She's so excited about it. She's in moving and storage mode, finding all these small things to help maximize our living space. She's
been watching the fun time Netflix shows about being organized and stuff. Rachel gets into those too, and then I come home to 50 new baskets.
Does she love the Container Store?
She does love the Container Store, but I don't think that we have one around. So like I think that so it's like, you know, banned from our place because I don't know if we have one. But like she's always finding like baskets and storage containers and shit.
Like you know the way my brain works and how organized I am. And I went to the Container Store. I'm like, this doesn't even do it for me. Like I don't understand the type of brain that like I just like I find my own ways to be organized or whatever.
Yeah.
He says. We move at the end of next month, so I guess that's the end of July, right before 5-year anniversary. That's all I have for now. I have a Warriors watch party at the Chase Center that my supervisor gave me for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Go Dubs. Be fast, never last. Get past you, lose that ass. No, Monica. Well,
congrats.
That email, they won the ship.
They did. Congrats, bud. We've been cursing Steph Curry for no matter what we decided to gamble on him all playoffs. Overs, unders, threes, no threes. Always wrong. So I'm glad that Golden State won. My boss is also a fan of the Golden State Warriors, so he was also very excited. I don't have a basketball team, so like I never mind that Golden State wins. They're like an auxiliary team. Like I don't mind cheering for them. So I'm happy for all of you guys getting your wins. But Steph Curry needs to decide to get on my gambling schedule and help me out a little bit.
Today, we got an email from Alex Ellen, subject line 21 years. Welcome back. Happy anniversary, gentlemen. Today is the 21st anniversary of the first movie's premiere.
It is.
Just quick update while you were gone. A couple weeks ago, we closed on a house. That's 2 houses.
2 houses in 2 days.
And within the next month, we'll hopefully be moved in. I only saw Top Gun Maverick during the semi-hiatus, but it was way better and more fun than it had any right to be. Alex, another
Alex is in
for Top Gun.
He's in on the long con to convince me that Top Gun's going to be a good movie.
It would be very funny, and I don't know if funny is the right word. If like we're all like, hey, CC to everybody, but not Joe. Let's all pretend that this is a great movie.
The world, critics, everyone I know.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was laughing about it, because it's like you guys are obviously all aren't in on the same joke, but it still feels like I'm still skeptical.
There's no reason to be.
No, I know.
And the last email, the reason I just say that because it's longer, from Jason Rainey, subject line, thief thoughts or tangerine dreaming of Jagov's meaning.
Okay.
Hey, Joe and Joey.
What's up, Jason?
Cool to hear Thief covered on the Patreon. Great heist flick. We did it for I forgot that we did it for Patreon. Yes. Great movie. Go subscribe to the Patreon. Good episode. Great movie.
Episode,
go watch
great
it.
Movie.
Listen.
Yeah, for sure.
A few years ago, I watched all of Michael Mann's films, and it was a hell of a way to kick off his filmography. Anyway, I had some random thoughts while listening, so I thought I'd say hi and write in.
Hi.
Joey, when you were reading off how long you'd owned certain Criterion discs before watching them, I felt that in my soul. My eyes get too big for my stomach when it comes to buying movies, and I hate to think how long some of the ones on my shelf have gone unwatched. I've been trying to be better about watching films from my backlog, but it isn't always easy. Unlike our boy Dom, I rarely have nothing but time. Glad to hear the pod can help you clear out some of your old titles.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's also funny to me, and I think it's because of the podcast, but Jason has been, he follows me on Letterboxd. I follow him on Letterboxd. But a couple times in the last couple months, he's liked a movie. He's liked a review of mine. And he's watched... So this is the kind of bullshit that he's watching instead of quote-unquote real movies. He watched Mr. Baseball, which, we
Great
liked.
Movie, yeah.
And Brian responded that on Twitter. He's like excited that he watched that. But then Jason also watched your fucking Lifetime pick, The Wives He Forgot. I'm like, why are you watching? And Jason's review on Letterboxd was, watch this after listening to a podcast he links to our show that discussed it in Lifetime movies in general. It's not good, but given all the failed but earnest comedy bits, I wonder how many Lifetime movies would be massively improved as Abraham Zucker style romps. So I like that Jason's like, I got so many movies to watch. And
Criterion Collection DVDs.
Watching The Wives He Forgot. So,
It's perfect.
I thought that was really funny. I'm like, why are you... I'm like, okay, like it's cool. Like, I love that you're watching along with us, but like, man, pick and choose your spots, because that's not one you need to watch. But if you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it, right? So
yeah, we always say on high school summer party when I would come do Lifetime movies there, Brian's always like, you definitely don't need to watch this movie.
Right.
It's like, I promise you everything you're gonna get from it we'll talk about right here. But I'm glad that you did watch it, and I hope that you expand your palette a little bit more. Watch some more Lifetime movies. They're really stupid and a lot of fun. So
yeah,
I don't think you can go wrong.
Jason says, if you dug Tangerine Dream's score for this, I'd also recommend their score for Michael Mann's second movie, The Keep. I don't know if I'd recommend the film. I like it, but your enjoyment may depend on how much you're into flawed but strange fantasy films. But the soundtrack is more of that moody synth goodness. It's perfect for a stormy night.
I like that idea.
He says, I never thought about jagoff being a regional term. I've heard it used before, though looking back, not as a frequent insult. I got curious and did some internet sleuthing. Not sure if anyone else has written into y'all about this, but here's what I found. He says, apparently, the word may have had of Scottish-Irish origins.
Yes.
A jag referring to thorns. So calling someone a jagoff is like saying they're a thorn in your side or a pain in the ass.
Yep.
It's believed to have originated in the Pittsburgh area, became popular in the Chicago region among its Irish community. Sounds like Pittsburghers who moved out west probably carried the noble jagoff tradition with them. so not totally out of place in Thief's Chicago setting. Justin messaged us about this too, right?
He did, and also Kate Hudson of Twilight Forever,
and now of the Chicagoland
area, tweeted something, and she said, like, those Jags. And I was like, what are you saying? And, like, I kept asking to see if she also had used the term, and she did. And when she did, I also did some research, and I was like, this is definitely a Pittsburgh word. And I found the exact same thing, Jason. Thank you for sharing as well. It did start in Pittsburgh and migrated, but yeah, it's a very weird, specific regional term that, like, we always attribute to ourselves in Pittsburgh. So,
and I don't remember if it was something we talked about on the show when you brought it up, or if it was something in the chat with Justin. But I think we were like, it's kind of like just like a blue collar, like a Pittsburgh thing. That so like I think he was saying that like he knows people who like in the HVAC line of work or whatever that like use it too, and so it just feels like.
And he was like, yeah, like, he spent time in Chicago, and like, yeah, it's definitely like a, you know, just like a mild slander that has no real meanings and isn't terrible, right? Like, it's better than asshole. It's not like a slur. Mm-hmm. You're just like, that person's a jagoff. I think that everybody should adopt it. It's a good one. And it's always, like, something you'd refer to as, like, somebody that cuts you off in traffic is definitely a jagoff. Like, that's, like, always my example of, like, when I'm trying to explain it to non-English speakers. I actually bought these keychains that say Jagoff Motel on them, and, like, in Pittsburgh, and I, like, put all the work keys on these so, like, people don't take the keys home with them, like, for, like, certain places and things.
Sure.
So I have the Jagoff Motel, and they were like, what is this? But, yes, awesome.
He says, that's all I got for now. Hope you boys are doing well. Your pocket vision boards are coming true. Ejecto Cedo Cousins, Jason. Well, thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for writing in, bud.
Glad that you're doing well. 2 houses, though. That's incredible.
Yeah, Alex and Jerry, dude. Both of them. Same time. Wow.
Did I say on the podcast, I know I told you, but did I say on the podcast that I got solar? That after my solar saga last summer, which I think I talked about, solar is installed. It's not on yet. The walkthrough is next Thursday.
Oh, yeah, it takes some time. That makes sense. I had my first totally solared month in, like, May or April or May. Like,
I got a letter from my electric company like, hey, you used more electricity last month than the average home. I'm like, yeah, not your concern anymore, basically.
Yeah, fuck off, guy.
I appreciate you, like, saying, do this with your window air conditioning. I'm like, I don't really have those. I have, like, these weird sort of big room ones, so
splits.
I appreciate it, but, like, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't go out of order. We have a Patreon page, toofast2forever.com. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden Renato D. Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting us at the $5 a month level or above. We got a bonus episode coming out next week. Stay tuned to the end of this episode to find out what that is. And in addition to our regular pit stop next week. So shout out to all of you. Thank you all for supporting us at toofast2forever.com.
Seriously.
We also have the store at toofast2forever.shop. Nothing new. I'm going to still do it at some point, but you know, it's coming. We got new merch coming, but there's stuff over there. We got...
No, you have a new shirt. It's the George Pickens watching Fast and the Furious shirt that I wear all the time.
I also do want to say... 2 houses and a baby. Dan the Duke Hayden had a new baby. He and his wife had their second child.
Right. Yeah.
And we, because he's a friend of the show, but also a friend of ours, we sent him a Too Fast, Too Forever onesie that the baby is not big enough yet to wear. But as soon as that baby is big enough, you know, he and his wife both love it. He thanked us for it. So if you have a baby in your life, toofast2forever.shop, get them a onesie. Any style. They're all great.
Yeah, true.
Very exciting news, though, Joe. Before we get to On the Streets,
what?
Hall of Fame voting is now open.
Is it? Okay, cool.
If you go to cageclub.me/bracket, not you now because I've not set up the thing, but by the time this episode comes out to our Patreon people on Friday, cageclub.me/bracket will bring you to the ballot initiative for this year. This is our 3rd year of doing it. If you'll remember, year 1, do you remember who was inducted year 1? Pop quiz. Pop quiz, hotshot.
It's like, it was like Dom.
There are two things were inducted. Dom is one.
And was it like the first movie?
Nope. One more guess. Dom and...
Brian.
Okay. Vin Diesel, Dominic Toretto, and Paul Walker, Brian O'Connor, the year 1 inductees. We have 25 things you can vote for. You can vote up to 10 of them in. If you get less than 10% of the votes, they fall off. If it's more than 75%, the thing you get in. And so we have 5 different categories. I think we have like characters, we have stunts, we have jokes, we have movies, and we have cars.
Yep.
And so they were both in. The year 1 casualty, the impossibility of the quiz fell off. So that's off the ballot for 5 years.
Yeah.
Last year, we had 1 inductee. Do you remember who got in last year? Who
Letty.
or what got in? No. Letty was close, but Letty did not get in.
Han.
Sung Kang, Han Solo Lu got in last year, but Whataburger versus In-N-Out, Fast and Furious 6, and Furious 7 all fell off. So we replaced Han, because he got in, with Tej. So Chris Ludacris Bridges, a.k.a. Tej Parker, available for induction. And then we replaced the meme, the Whataburger, with the Fast and Furious writers listen to Too Fast, Too Forever.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the movies fell off. 6 and 7 fell off. So we added their, I don't remember, but we have 1, 3, 4, 5, and 9 on the list. So cageclub.me/bracket, vote. You really only get to vote once. I guess there's nothing stopping you from voting more than once, but please just try to, respect the system, respect the process. cageclub.me/bracket. We will announce the winner in about a month. We're going to do it. I picked a date. What was this? I think it's going to be on the Furious 7 episode in like 4 weeks. So you have a couple weeks to vote, but go there, vote. cageclub.me/bracket. Joe, you get to vote. I get to vote.
I'm going to get a vote. I'm going to send it to my friends. They're going to vote.
I thought they should have been in the first time. I thought they should have been in the second time. I really hope Letty and Mia both get in now. We need to break up this sausage party.
Jesus Christ.
I am stumping for, I've said on the last 2 times we reveal these that I think it's a crime that they're not in. I can kind of get Brian and Dom being the first class in, but like, we need some women in there. So anything else too. But Letty, Mia, vote early. If you're going to vote for them, vote often. Letty and Mia, get them in at cageclub.me/bracket. Joe, on the streets, news about the Fast and Furious. Got a bunch of like littler things, but what do you remember? Anything of note in the last couple of weeks?
We added a ton of characters. That's what I remember, but mostly I wanted to tell you, because I didn't tell you this morning. Well, this doesn't fucking make any sense, but deal. This morning on the Today Show, they had the director of Heat,
Michael Mann.
Maybe, yeah. It was. I think it was Michael Mann. Now that I think about it, but he has a new interview up with Harry from the Today Show about Heat, about having De Niro and Pacino on the screen for the first time. De Niro and Pacino are in it. They showed a clip of the interview, so I mean to watch that. And they were like, "Did you know that they didn't really practice the line at the cafe, like the whole scene in the cafe, because they wanted it to feel more authentic?" De Niro and Pacino are getting really old, and they like totally forgot what was happening in some parts of the movies or the movies they've been in. So that was fun to see. But I'm planning to watch it. I think it's on CBS.com, if that's what show the Today's Show is on. If that's what channel the Today's Show is.
I honestly have no idea.
I know, me neither.
Today's Show is NBC. It's on Peacock.
Okay, so on the Peacock website or whatever, there's the full interview, and I'm gonna give it a watch because I think it sounds interesting. But that was the most adjacent Fast and Furious news I've had recently. How about you?
Well, we have pictures of Jason Statham on set, which we knew was going to happen because he showed up at the end of 9 in the credits, and so obviously he's going to be in 10 in some regard. John Cena Instagrammed a picture of the necklace, which is very exciting because he's going to be back, because we didn't know what was going to happen with Jacob, but he's back. And with that in mind, Dope D on Twitter said to us, "What does y'all take on the cast for Fast X, given how big it already is, and now that Jason Statham's confirmed, John Cena most likely back, and there's still a possibility of people coming back like Kurt Russell, Helen Mirren, and more." And you said we'll definitely address it in the next episode. Great question. So, Joe, what do you think about having all of these people in the movie?
You know what? Like, we had talked last time, and we're like, we kind of need to like trim the fat type situation. And cut back on some characters. But you know what? Recently, I've come around, I'm thinking, just fucking send it. I want everyone in this movie. I want everyone in this movie for 1 second. Just down the line, put everybody in it. They can all be auxiliary characters. And I'll deal. That's it. I'll be stoked to see each and every one of them when I'm in the theater. And I can't pretend like I won't be. So, like, yeah, fucking put everybody in the movie.
I know that we complain a lot about too many characters, not enough screen time, blah, 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 blah. The way that I thought about it after Dope D tweeted at us, I was like, the movies aren't getting shorter.
Yeah.
Like, there's not going to be, it's not like, oh, Fast 10, a brisk 95 minutes. It's like, no, the movie's going to be 3 hours long. Like, that's just what's going to be, right? So, like,
exactly. Yeah, that's my point.
If the movie's going to be longer for good reasons or not, who knows? Yeah, just keep adding people. Who gives a shit? As long as it's good, as long as it makes sense. I would love to see more of the people that we love in 9 do more things, but, like, the people that we added, it all made sense, right? Like, I would love to have more Cypher doing things, whatever, but Jacob works. The flashbacks worked. Cardi worked. Everything worked. So just, I trust him to a certain extent, right? Just make it longer, make it bigger, keep adding people. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's exactly
in the words of you, send it.
Send it. I don't give a fuck. Like, let's do it.
The other thing, not really Fast and Furious related, but sort of, is that Paul Walker and Ludacris are both getting stars in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And, like, the same day, too.
Yeah, so it's an honor, of course. I think you have to be invited, but it's also, like, did you know that you have to pay to have that happen?
No.
You pay, like, 60 grand?
No, I had no idea.
So, like, Bob Odenkirk just got one, but, like, he didn't pay for it. Like, AMC paid for it in, as promotion for Better Call Saul, basically. But yeah, it's not like, oh, we love you, it's such an honor, here's a star. It's just like, we love you, it's such an honor, give us like 60 grand.
I didn't know that you had, so like, for what, like the installation of it?
I don't think it costs 60 grand. I think it's just like a dues thing. Who knows? I don't know where the money goes. All I know is it costs tens of thousands of dollars to get one. So I don't know if they're like Paul being passed. I don't think they're asking his family. Maybe Universal's paying for both. I don't know. It's good promotion for the Fastiverse if they have like Dom there or whatever, right? I've been there.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely an honor, but it's also like, hey, pay us.
Yeah, definitely. That's really weird. It kind of makes sense, but like, isn't there some kind, like, I would imagine it's more like there's a board of directors and like you have to make a donation and then you get your star. But, like, you don't pay for it, but you make a donation to the board of directors. I don't know. Yeah.
But congratulations to both of them, to Paul and Paul's family, and to Ludacris for getting stars.
Yeah, two Fast and Furious characters in one run. I like it.
When we do our inevitable tour of Southern Los Angeles, Southern California for the Fast and Furious, Hollywood stops, going to 1327, so on and so forth, we're going to have to find those stars, take pictures of those stars. More to do in SoCal.
Yeah.
Joe, with all that news, with all these people in Fast X, is Dwayne Johnson in that movie?
No.
The first time we've said this in like 3 or 4 months. We can't even do our normal transition. There's no more Young Rock. Young Rock is done for the season.
No, yeah, that's right. I was like,
did you feel like you were missing something, like in terms of like homework?
Mm-hmm. Did I'm sure that you knew that I knew that I felt like that for sure.
I thought so. Behind the scenes, Joe, like we have a document like where it's like what we're talking about when we're recording, what to watch, blah blah blah, and then still like every once in a while you're like, oh fuck, I forgot a sponsor, and so I thought you were gonna forget a sponsor tonight, but you remembered a sponsor. You got a great sponsor.
Thank you.
And by forgot a sponsor, I mean like you just didn't check the email of all the checks that were getting cashed from all these DB Cooper mailing us money to promote himself on the show. But yeah, no, I was just like, oh yeah, I thought there's no TV. Okay, just the minute and just the movie. That's it.
Yeah,
easy peasy.
Easy peasy. It was very breezy. It definitely was.
Well, speaking of the other homework to do, the Too Fast, Too Furious minute 64, minute I called a Roman line. That was a damn rat, man.
You boys enjoy the show. 15 minutes, and then every cop in Florida's gonna be on you. Be at Versailles Cafe, 6 a.m. day after tomorrow, ready to drive. You understand?
Yeah.
Don't play games with me, or you'll be next. All right?
Help yourself to a little champagne.
Let's go.
That was a damn rat, man.
You ever touch another man again, and I'll kill you. You hear me? Look at me. You hear me?
She was into it, man. What's that about?
And you seen the way...
In this minute, Carter talks to Roman and Brian about what comes next, where to meet, and what to look out for. He gloats about the quote-unquote show he just put on, and threatens them to act right. Carter and Monica head into the hallway. He kisses her, then threatens her. Brian drives himself and Roman back to Tesh's garage. Roman has questions for Brian as the minute ends. And I feel like we've been complaining about this goddamn Pearl scene for months now.
We have.
We're finally gone, but it's almost another entire minute spent in the Pearl with nothing really happening.
Yes, but we're out. We're out. We drove out of it. We're getting out. So I was feeling very reassured.
We get to Tesh's garage. The only thing that I noticed there is that there's a mailbox right outside the front door, and Brian parks right in front of it. So, like, you know, obviously he's not going to stay there, but, like, he does live there temporarily. So, like, he's making postal carriers work very difficult in the morning, having to walk around that car. But what did you notice? Anything of note in this minute?
We got the back of Tesh's NSX. So I got the license plate on that.
We had that. Was that in a previous minute? We saw that car already, right?
We saw the car.
Okay.
That's the back of it. And the license plate is new. And the other thing was there's candles in the hallway. That's it.
Lots of candles.
Because pretty much this is just faces and then them driving and pulling up to Tesh's garage again, which we've already seen the front of. So not very much in this minute other than the dialogue, in my opinion.
Which is unfortunate, but, you know.
It happens.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
There's a song playing in the background in the club. It sounds like a Sean Paul song, that kind of music. He has a song on the soundtrack, Deport Them, which was already in the movie. It could be back again. I don't know. It's only in one scene. It's too faint to be picked up by Shazam. I can't really even hear the words because it's like Carter, like menacingly threatening Monica over it. I can't tell what it is, but it sounds like a Sean Paul song. That's the only thing I picked up on in this minute. But the trivia question, I have two different ones. One is easier. And one is harder.
I like one a lot.
So the first one, the easier one I have, is who drives Brian and Roman back to Tesh's garage from the Pearl? Question answer is Brian or Roman. The answer is Brian. The more difficult one, I only have the right answer. You like this one. Where does Carter tell Brian and Roman to meet him for the job? The answer, he says, is the Versailles Cafe. So, Joe, if we're going to go with that one, we're going to go the harder question. I need 3 wrong answers.
The Pearl Cafe, the Waterloo Cafe, and give me, like, another, like, French war, like, Napoleon battle type.
The Napoleon Cafe.
The Napoleon Cafe.
No, Cafe Napoleon.
Oh.
You're like, is that it? Because it's different than the rest.
And Pearl, we were just at the Pearl, so we just heard the Pearl.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's tough. That's a tough question. I will probably get that wrong.
I think so, too.
Minute 64. That was a damn rat, man. Where does Carter tell Brian and Roman to meet him for the job? The answer is the Versailles Cafe. Because he says, be at Versailles Cafe, 6 a.m. day after tomorrow, ready to drive. You understand?
Yeah.
Brian says, yeah. Cool. Very cool. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for the enthusiasm. Any other things, any other notes, any other thoughts about this minute of movie?
No, I'm glad to get out of there. And, like, Carter's, like, very... This is, like, so threatening to Monica. Like, I don't... It feels even worse when you're watching it as a clip in this minute than it does normally when you're watching it. You know what I mean? Like, it feels, like, way too aggressive and threatening. I don't like it, so...
I don't like it either.
Yeah.
But we're out of there. And Carter's gone for a while, at least.
Yeah.
So, that's nice. And we're not going back to the Pearl.
Nope.
We have another half an hour or so of the movie to go.
Yep.
So, the next 6 months, we're still doing this movie. But...
That's fine.
We're out of the Pearl, which is good.
Yep.
All right, Joe, let's take a break, and let's come back with Ify to talk about Fast and Furious 6.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 244, Fast and Furious 6. This episode is brought to you by DB Cooper, the notorious plane thief. So shout out to DB Cooper.
Well, shout out to DB Cooper, and welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. With us now, actor, writer, comedian, and, importantly for the history of this show, sort of, in a sense, the final piece of the puzzle. Joe, we have collected the complete set.
Nice.
As we've been talking about over the last couple of months, we've now had all 4 people from their 2 or 3 part Fast and Furious extravaganza on Maximum Film. We have Ify Nwadiwe. Hello, Ify.
Hey, how's it going? And look, now that you've had all 4, you get to snap away one movie you don't like from cinema history.
Oh, we get like a partial Thanos.
Yeah. It's only a movie, and everyone will forget the movie exists, and we'll never talk about it ever again.
What movie are you snapping away?
La La Land instantly.
Oh, no.
Yep, you don't know it exists anymore. Done. Bond. Boom.
I gotta think about
La La
that.
Land is a very important piece for me, because with La La Land we get that great moment in Black history where they thought they won, and almost the hubris of it all, where they're like, oh snap, of course we won because we're that movie, and then they're like, psych, actually we chose this movie that no one, like everyone liked, but no one expected to win,
I love Moonlight. I was a huge fan.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry that you're right. Taking away the moment of them thinking that they won and then letting Moonlight win almost makes me reconsider. But
I thought you were going in a different direction, where you thought that, Black culture had this history of jazz, but it's like, no, Ryan Gosling saved it. So
yeah.
different ways, same end result of erasure, but yeah.
Yeah. No one was even thinking about jazz until Ryan Gosling started to toot and sing.
Chicken on a stick, man. That's all you got. You got Sebs. It's great. It's wonderful. But Ify, thank you for joining us. We're very excited to have you here to talk about Fast and Furious 6.
Ooh, yes, indeed. Furious 6.
So now I know that you guys talked about all these movies, or a lot of the movies at least, on your show, but what's your history of the franchise? Have you been an OG ride or die from the beginning, or did you come on later? Like, what is your track record with the Fast and Furious films?
Oh, man, I was part of the Fast family before there was a Fast family,
Ooh.
if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Originally, when Fast and Furious came out, it was just the icing on the cake to a very, tuner heavy period for millennials, especially if you grew up in LA. You had hot import nights. I was the guy. I never went to hot import nights. I wanted to go, but every copy of Super Street import tuner I was picking up, I was saving initial D cards from the machine to do it. I was all in on Need for Speed. Like, I wanted to be a street racer so bad, and just did not have the car to do it. I even went and made these drift team stickers it was called Streamline Drift for my friends in high school. None of us even had a car, so we put them in our folders. So when Fast and Furious came out, it was the movie for me, and it was a big deal in the street racing tuner community. Was oh, this is a movie for us, and it blew up. And Too Fast, Too Furious I liked because I was always a huge Ludacris fan. So seeing him come into the franchise and Ja Rule fumble the biggest bag of his life next to the Fire Fest.
Yep.
I think probably financially, probably a bigger fumble here, because I think he was offered he wanted $50 million, and no, we're not going to do that. But he would have made, if he had stuck around, he would have made probably $100 million in these movies.
Probably.
Oh, 100%, because it was one of those things, right, where there's always the story of oh man, I wish I can go back in time and tell my dad to invest in Starbucks. And you're yeah, and in the hindsight is 2020, but if you think about back when Starbucks probably went public, a coffee shop, people are oh, people like coffee that much, people are going to want coffee that much, because the coffee culture wasn't really there at the start of Starbucks in a way almost created it, at least on a national scale. So I think it's the same thing with the Fast and Furious. You had the Fast and Furious, and at the time these were these street racer crime movies, or as Drea likes to put it, Point Break with cars.
Yep.
So you really didn't think it had much leeway. For all Ja Rule knew, this was just going to be the next movie and it's done. So get it good now, and if not, move on. It turns into much later when you think about it. That was a call Luda and company probably weren't expecting when Justin Lin, takes over and revamps the series, and it turns into this superhero movie.
Yeah, and that's something that, we obviously talk about a lot with Justin Lin's influence, and it's such a bummer that he's not going to be around for 10. Like, I feel like this time where we're supposed to be, like, as a community, as a family, as you said, celebrating the kind of the wrap up, the wind down, whatever of this franchise, to be like, oh, I guess, things aren't great on set is kind of a bummer, because he did take it to a whole different, new, kind of exciting place.
Oh, 100%. It's because, one of my favorite things to say or mention at all times is it's the Ouroboros of this whole series, right? Like, it really exploded and born from itself when, Vin decided to use this as a pun intended vehicle for his own career. And, and he kind of like him coming back after Tokyo Drift, was this deal that had to be made where he got to put a little more fingers in it. And now we're at the point where we're at the height, some would even say the peak of these films, where like everyone's in on the bit. We know that each movie is supposed to go bigger and better. So, and this is essentially going to be the last one. So why wouldn't he just do too much, right?
Yeah.
like the ego that created this series is also going to be the downfall of it. And, we were right. We were purposely about to jump the shark to the end of the series, but I think that might be what in turn hurts it irreparably.
Are you looking forward to, or are you more worried or excited for these next two, like, quote unquote? I mean, I don't think they're going to stop, but like in terms of the Fast Saga, whatever they're calling it, because the name seems to change a lot. But I think the Fast Saga. Are you more worried or excited about these final two sort of main installments?
To be honest, at this point, I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what we end up with.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there's a formula here. And I felt this way, we just did Jurassic World Dominion on Max Film, and watching that film, I was like, oh, there's a formula they seem to have followed at this point in the series, which is, rich person wants to use dinosaur DNA stuff for their own gain, but in turn will destroy the planet. But money is more important than having a planet to this person. Some bad situation happens that frees all the dinosaurs, and now the heroes must escape the island, and the rich person tries to escape on their own only to be cornered and eaten by dinosaurs. Like those are some of those moving parts that have to be present in all of that. And I think we're kind of at that point with Fast and Furious where it's like, okay, what is a thing that needs to be done only with cars for some reason? Who are the guys? What are the stakes, and what is the like big trailer centerpiece thing that's going to be done with a vehicle that blows our mind? Like, they got a tank. The last time was a fighter jet catching a car with a magnet. So I feel like with those blueprints in hand, we'll get an aight at best movie, and like an aight Fast and Furious is still a Fast and Furious movie.
Yes. And I think that's a great transition into the rankings, if you're able to rank these movies, because whenever a new movie comes out, Joe and I do an intro, like a preview episode, just sort of get excited, get hyped, and just sort of make our guesses as to what's going to happen. And we did this for Hobbs and Shaw, and we did this for F9. And one of the toughest questions, I think, and Joe, maybe you don't feel the same way, is like, what's best case scenario in terms of rankings? Like, do you think, like Joe and I both have Fast 5 as our favorite, like, could this be, if all goes well? And the answer is usually no. Like, we think that, like, it could be good. Like, we're excited and we're optimistic, but, like, I think the franchise's best days are behind it. So I would like to hear your rankings if you have them, and then also, with these last two, you don't have to like necessarily put a specific place for them, but like, what do you think best case scenario in terms of your favorites would be?
Oh man. So to go for my ranking, and you can stop me when I've said enough, I will always have a soft spot for the original Fast and Furious. So that will forever be my number one.
Okay.
My number two will be a Fast 5,
sure,
because that brought new life to the series. It revitalized it. My number 3 is an extremely controversial pick of Too Fast, Too Furious.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm willing to say that's major nostalgia. It was major nostalgia. I needed that. Fast and Furious. I think I want to say like 7.
Okay.
is where it gets very interesting to me. Like, to me, that's also a very tentpole moment in the series, mostly because that is, the one where we, last see our good friend Paul Walker, and it's his send-off series. And it was like pretty well done, even though you can kind of see where things get squeaky when they had to kind of make, the adjustments.
Yeah.
After that, I'd say, this is a very new development for a long time. I refused to watch Tokyo Drift, and it was something well, it was that version of Ify that I was talking about earlier with that made the stickers, that made that wanted to be a street racer so bad. For some reason, I took it as, and this was like my senior year of high school too, so this is right in the heat of it. I took it as the movie as an affront to the drifting scene. I thought it disrespected the art of drifting. I thought that it but this is before it was a thing, but it meaned the very existence of the beautiful art form of drifting. I have since gone back, and while it's not great, I look back and realize that Ify would have loved this movie. I would have still cringed at the American car being used at the end, because I was strictly like, oh, you have to use a Japanese, rear wheel drive car to drift. So I'll give it that position. After that, I'm going to say Fast and Furious, because that one was kind of a surprise hit, because I feel like we thought Fast and Furious was done. It was this 3-year gap. We thought it was over, and then it comes back, and this is where it kind of starts back and really focus on those heist routes before Fast 5 really kind of like gives you the completed dish. I think after that, I'd probably go Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious 6, and then Fast 9.
Wow. Okay. So that's the new one is the last one.
Yeah. The new one was, albeit a fun watch, because I went to see it with friends, and we were very annoying because we were all in on it. We love the series. We love the cheese. We're riding, but it still was like not necessarily the best.
Now, you did not rank, and it's okay because it's a real split down the middle, but you did not rank Hobbs and Shaw. Is that one that you do not consider that a Fast and Furious movie, or is that just one that you skipped over, or what's your thoughts on that?
When I want to rank the movies, I just go with the main line, because I feel like the side ones, I'm the same way too. Like when I see people do their like Star Wars ranking and they add Solo and stuff, I'm like, no, you're messing it up. That's the main, rank the main lines and then the other stuff. But if I were to rank it in the general, it'd be within top 5 territory. Okay. I actually really enjoyed it.
I think it's so much fun. Yeah.
The sauce that is, The Rock's shtick is a sauce that I enjoy eating. It is a sauce that I'm happy. Also, I'm like just an Idris Elba super fan anyway. So getting that sauce and like an actor who I genuinely love to see in whatever they do, no matter how ridiculous, it just made it a movie that was a fun watch, even though it is like, and it really kind of ups the ante of like how much of a superhero movie this series has become.
Sure. Now, and this is a difficult question we don't usually ask everyone. It's what I said before, and I think it just sort of naturally evolves into that. But with 10 and 11, or 10-1 and 10-2, or Fast X and Furious X, or who knows what they're going to call it, what do you think best case scenario, being a Fast and Furious super fan, being sort of an optimist about movies, I get the sense, where do you think these last two could rank? Like, if all goes well and they're able to pull off exactly the movie that you wanted them to do, could it surpass the first one? Could it be like in your top 5? Like, what do you think is the upper limit of these last two movies for you?
Here's the thing. If Justin Lin was able to just do what he does best and just pull out all the stops and end this series with a bang, I definitely see the potential of this being number 1. But letting, Vin take the wheel, which, love him, I only hope the best for him. But he just really has a way of trying to make, Dom just this super badass guy that just doesn't fit with his commitment to looking like a super badass guy. You know, like you have, you know, Jason Statham in The Rock, in Hobbs and Shaw, and you see how ripped these dudes are because they're like, well, we're action stars. This is what they do, and that's not to say that, you know, you had to, like, you know, I was all about, you know, Chow Yun Fat back in the day, but like, you know, I'd say the modern era, you know, badass action guy is a shredded guy. No, instead, Vin is the type who will go into the men's magazine and be like, you know, Dom's a guy who likes to have a few beers every now and then, so, you know, I can't get too shredded. I'm like, what? And that is a very real quote that he has said as to explain the fitness difference between him and The Rock.
That's precisely my training method too. You know, like, I don't think that Joe is a guy that could be too shredded because he likes to have a few beers every once in a while. So
you're talking about in third person like you're Edwin from the first movie. Joe is a guy who likes some
yeah, yeah, exactly. I was saying the character of Joe, not the person.
Yeah. Well, I think like this is an interesting point in the movie where we're at today with Fast and Furious 6, where like it seems like, okay, The Rock's back for a second movie. We don't have Statham here yet, but like we're becoming superheroes, and Vin is bulking up in a way to make Dom on screen sort of seem, body-wise, you're never going to be as big as The Rock, just because he's insane. But he's trying this thing where he's like bulking up and bulking up and bulking up, and then what we noted on here was that for 9, where there's no Hobbs, there's no Shaw, he kind of looks more like a human. So I think you're onto something there, Ify, where it's like he's not really going for superhero. He's just going to like try to keep up with the guys who are superheroes. And then when they're not around, it's just like, well, you know, I'm just a guy. I'm just a dad. I'm a family man.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite character? Before we talk about the movie, do you have a favorite character in this franchise?
Ooh, this is very good and very hard for me. But if I had to choose, you know, it's either going to be someone like The Rock, or it's going to have to be Roman. Even though people are so over Tyrese and his shitty jokes, seeing him try so hard to be this comic relief in the series is just fun for me.
I still love it, and I think that in 9, like, Joey was really down on him for a while, but in 9, I think he came back around. Yeah, he came back around a little bit. Like, it's endearing, you know? Like, he's trying so hard. It's just like, yeah, I get it.
Roman's the character that I have, like, the most issues with, but also find the most joy in, and, like, I don't know. And I wonder if, you know, because I think that he and Paul Walker in real life, that Tyrese and Paul Walker were such good friends that, like, you know, maybe it hit him harder. I don't know, but, yeah, I love Roman, but I also have issues with Roman, so who knows?
I think Tyrese is a little bit of an idiot in general with the whole, like, blowing up Dr. Dre's spot. Like, he has a long history of just, like, running his mouth. Yeah.
Tyrese, and I like him as the person outside of the movies.
Yeah.
I get so much joy following his antics. I like that he has too many Terminators in his home. He has last I counted 3 life-size Terminators in his home. When he was going through the whole hubbub with the custody thing, he did a earnest post in which he was holding Bumblebee's hand and said, "I want to thank Bumblebee for getting me through this." And I was like, this man is a living cartoon character, and you know what? Power to you. Power to you, man.
Did you see he listed his house in LA a couple months ago for sale? And there were all these pictures of his life-size Bumblebee in the backyard, and also his Benihana that he calls Gibbsy Hana in the backyard. Like, he's a child. He's a child in a man's body with way too much disposable income.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. I'm going to check years active, but like Tyrese has been making money for a long time. And so, you know, it's almost like what I like to call the athlete effect, where, you know, he when you have, and he comes from Watts, he's a hometown hero like me, you know, and so like he like gets this money and he's just kind of on this roll, and he is someone, especially I think coming from music into acting, is the like personality killer in my in my opinion, because I feel like when you are a musical act, you're like the difference in fame between like a musical act, like I would imagine if we put them both in a room, both Timothy Chalamet and Harry Styles, like they are close enough in fame, but the type of fame and the type of things that people will do to see Harry versus to see like Timothy Chalamet are way different.
Yeah.
Like it is like a different, and it's so funny that we're talking about this because this is something I was thinking about a while ago, because someone on Twitter told this story about how he was a big Drake fan and he wanted to go meet Drake because his friend's brother was one of those guys who seemed like they're just friends with all the famous people. And then his brother was like, hey, I can get you in because you're my brother, but if your friend wants to come, you have to bring 5 women. And so they had to, like, they went through their phones and like searched for 5 women, transported them to this party. And he said he gets there and there's just like a sea of women hoping to get in the shuttle to go up to this house to meet Drake. And I was like, that is a very specific type of fame. That is not the same as acting fame. And the thing about that specific kind of fame is the same thing almost in an athlete, where like you're not being regulated in the same way. Whereas like actors, you like, I feel like they are humbled. Like, you know, I'm someone who acts. I can tell you, you know, unless you are this, you know, out of acting school sensation like you know, Mr. Chalamet, you know, you go through this like cycle of like you if you're doing commercial auditions, it's like this cattle haul that you're treated like shit.
You kind of eat shit for a while, right?
You eat shit and you're treated like shit, and then you book something and you're treated like the king of the world as you go through hair and makeup, and everyone's at your like feet, and you feel like king for a day. And then the next day you go back to auditions and you're treated like shit. So there's like this
roller coaster.
Yeah. That like, if you are going through the usual grind, you get humbled enough to kind of have a personality. Like every famous actor that I've met, and I'm not trying to like seem like I'm flexing. This is a statement I am saying. Like, you know, when I worked on a show like At Midnight, that's like, you get to meet a whole bunch of like actors, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
great show.
And all of them are just like amazing. Great people, really sweet. And then the only times I've had bad experience are people who have been famous since they've been kids. So I say this is a long roundabout way that we are talking about Fast 6, but I'm going deep into Tyrese to say that Tyrese comes from this fame that you just are treated like a king, and then he comes into acting and he's kind of already at the top of his career and he's treated like this king. So he doesn't have the humility part. He's just a guy who's like, I'm used to this. So he's just at diva mode from the start of the race.
It makes sense. Yeah, it just like you were saying, like athletes that you see it all the time too. Like these kids have been famous for being an athlete from so young that like there's no other way their life existed, so you just don't have this perspective at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
The way that we're starting every episode, every movie discussion this lap, is we're doing heist movies in between. This is our heist lap. You son of a bitch, I'm in, to steal a phrase from Rick and Morty. Each movie that we talk about, we are each picking a character. I did not tell you this in advance, so you have time to think about it. Joe and I can go first. But we're picking someone, if we're trying to assemble the ultimate heist team, and this is kind of a heist movie. They do kind of steal the thing that you know, Shaw had. It's not as much of a heist, I don't think, as Fast 5, but it's in the ballpark.
Yeah.
But if you were building a heist team, Ify, and you had to pick someone from this movie, it doesn't have to be a family member, it could be part of, you know, Shaw's crew, who would you pick from this movie? Is there a particular, like, sort of, we're not going to, like, have a real debate here, because we tried that, didn't work, we just yelled at each other for half an hour, went round and round in circles. But if you had to pick someone, if you had to sell that choice as someone like, this is the right pick for the heist team, who were you picking? Who's the most competent member? Who is the someone who can bring something to the heist that, you know, no one else can? Who do you want? Who do you trust the most? Who do you think has your back the most in a heist from this movie?
Oh, that's a no-brainer. It's going to be Tej.
Okay.
Tej is the only one who has like the real hacking smarts. You know, it's like, and I'm talking, of course, we get some more hackers later in the series. And while, you know, you do have, you know, the other characters like Giselle, Giselle is, you know, good with weapons and can sneak around. But when picking them, I feel like it's either between Giselle, Hobbs, or Tej, because they're the ones who like have actual heist things that don't revolve around, you know, cars. Like Roman is supposed to be the like, you know, charismatic motor mouth, but like the bit is that he's not good at it, and usually through someone hating him, you know, it ends up getting the point across anyway. But yeah, no, I'm all about, because Tej is the person who's going to like probably get you able to do a heist without any trouble. Like if they really sat down and worked with Tej, you wouldn't even need cars. But, you know, without cars, we don't have a movie.
Yep.
So
very fair.
Yeah, we talked about that for Fast 5, that it's funny that Roman is basically brought into that. I mean, everybody's coming back because everybody's coming back for 5, but like Roman is brought into that team because he can sweet talk anybody. And the one job he has to do in that movie is, you know, get that box into the police station, and he completely botches it, right? So like, I like that he is brought in, like he has a certain set of skills that, like you're saying, he just can't actually execute. Like he's just not good at things.
Oh yeah. But you know, that's the comedic part of the comedic element. Of course. And I think that's why it's very interesting, because you can kind of see where things would start getting shaky between Vin and one Dwayne, because Dwayne is just a powerhouse when it comes to the thing, because he has the badass level, but then he's also like very funny. So not only is he, and so I could see why Tyrese sided with Vin in all of this, because not only does he kind of overshadows Vin, but he also overshadows Tyrese, even though I do like their fun back and forth, especially in this one. Like that, like I was thinking, I like that why do I smell baby oil line, because it's
so good.
It's so ridiculous, but it's so like it's a good one.
I also think that, you know, in the Too Fast of it all, this is really the only time that I can think of that comes to mind where Hobbs and Tej have a thing together, where they go and get the cars. It just feels like this movie is pairing people up in interesting ways, and especially pairing people up with Hobbs in a way that like kind of helps them shine to a certain extent.
Yes.
So yeah, Joe, who are you picking? What's your heist pick?
I think there's a lot of good picks in this one again as we get further along, but this time because I don't have them yet, and I don't think, I'm kind of using the same logic of when I took Brian, that like I don't think that they get any better. I think I have to take Dom in this one, because I think he pretty much has superpowers at this point.
Okay.
So the jumping across the bridge, the walking out of a burning plane, like he seems pretty indestructible. Hobbs is like, we need a set of people. So like, who does he call? He calls Dom, who calls everyone, and they're instantly just like, we're in. So I think that I have to take Dom in this one. Although I think that there's like other great characters that have like individual good skill sets. Like I like Tej, I like Giselle. I just was like, okay, Dom with superpowers, you pretty much can't beat that. So
when I was thinking about this movie, obviously I love every family member that is called in this movie, and I feel like all lap long we're like, is this the Giselle we want because there's going to be Giselle in 6? Is this the Han we want? Is this the Dom we want? Because like, we know that bigger and better things are coming. And as I'm watching this movie, I'm like basically only watching it for the heist selection, and I'm trying to come up with like pros and cons of like who's the best, what's new, what has not been done. And I really, and this might sound blasphemous, I really kind of can't, I don't think any family member does a ton in this movie to sort of warrant selection. Like they're all good.
That's
I'm not
fair.
saying, I think they're all like, as we talk about, the character base is getting so broad and so wide, and everyone has to share the screen, and like
overlapping skills.
Yes, it's not like a super short movie, but like it's compared to later movies, it's shorter at like 2 hours and 10 minutes. And there's so many characters that need to shine. It's just like, well, and then they're introducing an entire, it's not just like one villain, it's an entire crew of villains, right? And so I don't think that there's anybody here from the family that I would choose. So with that in mind.
I also said I was thinking Gina Carano.
I was thinking so,
and I was
okay.
like, but fuck Gina Carano.
I think Riley is great. I do think fuck Gina Carano.
Yes.
But I do think that her ability to get truly like inside and undercover in a way
is great, yeah.
has not been seen before or since. Like the fact that she's so embedded with Hobbs, who is the greatest detective in the room.
Yes.
Like he is the Hercule Poirot of this franchise. And the fact that she is able to get in good with him, so much so that like no one, not even the audience, believes that she's a villain.
Yes.
Is a talent and a
Is
skill
that your
to
pick?
have. She was one of the two, but I also agree fuck
good.
Gina Carano.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Okay, good. There we go.
Who I'm instead picking, and I don't know that this is necessarily needed for a heist, but I think it can't hurt to have. I'm going with Joe Taslim's Jaw, because I feel like he is the ultimate fighter in any of these movies. In terms of hand-to-hand combat, like he effortlessly beats down Roman and Han, and not that they're, our strongest. It's not like they're Earth's strongest heroes, but as we talked about, by this point, they're all kind of superheroes, and so the fact that he's able to take down two of these guys kind of effortlessly in the subway is like, yeah, he's great. So I'm going with Joe Taslim's Jaw, which is kind of an I don't know what job he does. Maybe he's just like enforcer or distraction or just like a Ronda Rousey, who knows what, right? But
yeah,
like
parkour, something. Yeah.
I'm going with Ja because, like you said, fuck Gina Carano. All right, Ify, the floor is yours. This is the 11th time that we're talking about this movie. Or actually, we talked about it with Nate, too. So this is actually the 12th time we're covering this movie. So we've talked about a lot of different angles. But what about this movie? This is sort of lower on your list. So things you love, things you hate, things that keep it from being higher on your list. Where do you want to start? What do you want to talk about with Fast and Furious 6?
Oh man, Fast and Furious 6 is good because you do have some good action pieces in it. I think the reason it kind of holds a special place is kind of what you said. This is the point that we knew this movie was going to start taking a step into this supernatural.
Yeah.
When we see this man, drive into a center divider to fly across a bridge and catch the woman of his dreams, like that's when we knew, okay, this whole series just got lit. And, while it's fuck Gina Carano, this is before we knew she was a piece of shit.
Yep.
They really stepped it up. You got Joe, who you spoke of from The Raid, and you got Gina Carano. So, like I said, the action was up there. To me, what keeps it from being so high is while they revolutionize some things by stepping it up by, like you said, having a rival crew, like that was very interesting. But I think the stakes just weren't as exciting, and the moments that were great were kind of like the time it took for them to drive down that runway could have been separated into so many other action pieces. I think it's less about this movie and more about the fact that like the other movies surrounding it just have moments that are just way more exciting with more to do, and also I think another reason we start to get really messy as the series goes on, and why Fast Five got the benefit of introducing these new characters, this new character as like Hobbs, putting him in and making him like collide with the original family. This is where like we start to get the balancing act of such a hefty amount of people in the cast, and we're doing this whole balancing act, especially, and we're doing the weird retcons because we're only like 2-3 movies away from a brother appearing that we've never heard or seen before.
Yeah.
And like I think that's where it just starts to get messy, as they're just adding more ingredients to the soup, and this is just one of those pieces. But I will say, the Owen Shaw, held it down, was very exciting. But yeah, as a whole, not as I guess that's my one hang up. I think I just like the other movies more.
Do you think that, based on what we were just saying, with like, this is pretty much where we discover like everybody has superpowers, do you think that is playing into the idea that the stakes feel so much lower because you're like, at no point in this movie do I think they're gonna lose, right?
Yeah.
Is that like part of the what like the hang up is?
Well, yeah, because I also feel like, the movie, like, the big reason they're being called up is because they're a crew that is also fast. But like at this point, we know they're the fastest and most furious crew around. So we know when they meet this crew, they're going to be better. And it just, to me, it's just not packing the same punch as Five did. Five really, I think, was the freshest take on Hobbs because it was his newest take. And then by seven, he settles in a way that, is exciting. But six, I feel like, is the growing pains of now that we're in another movie with these folks, where does he fit in among the family?
What do you think of this movie's decision? I feel like this is the first time it kind of happens into expanding the mythology and connecting movies in a way. Like, obviously they bring characters back in five. Five is kind of like the Avengers, where it's like, okay, characters from the first movie and the second movie and the fourth, whatever, like they're all coming together for this one job. But this is the first one where they're like, we're going to bring back Stasiak for a cameo. And not only that, but like Shaw is working with Braga. And it's like, remember that guy from a couple movies ago? Well, he's back now. And then we know down the line that Shaw and Braga both worked for Cypher. And so it's like creating this connected universe that I feel like is maybe, a result of the MCU of it all. But do you like them expanding and sort of creating that connective tissue, or is it just like I'd rather have things like, I guess, is the MCU-ification of the Fastiverse something you appreciate and you like the connectivity, or would you rather have things be more standalone, sort of like how they used to be, as opposed to now how every movie is just like you got to see them all now?
Oh no, I love the connective tissue. I mean, that starts to be my favorite thing, is when we start having people kind of come in and come out. But it is funny seeing them try and manage this balancing act. Like, we've set this whole thing up where now, we're gonna unfortunately have Dom's new bae just replaced by Letty now that she's back. And so this is when she's going to be put on ice in the next movie, when their kid also for some reason appears too.
Yeah.
So this is where things really start to get messy, because they are kind of weaving in new things while having to kind of find the connective thread into old stuff. So yeah, I like the connective tissue.
It's something that like is exciting when done right, but I also feel like I kind of feel bad for people who are like going to see Fate of the Furious and being like, wait, who's this woman in the cage? Like, who is that?
Yeah.
Because like I think there is, and I think to a certain extent all these movies, especially like F9, like I do think that F9 works largely if it's your first Fast and Furious movie. But now, because the MCU is this like ongoing narrative of like 30 individual movies, and like, Kevin Feige's like, hey, if you just wait a handful more movies, you're going to know where we're going. We're going to have the next 20 things planned out, right? Like,
yeah,
everybody following in this multi-billion-dollar franchise's footsteps. And I think it's cool when done right, but I also just kind of feel bad that like people, there's so much mythology, and like unless you're like us, where you've either been in it from the beginning or have a podcast about it or whatever and watch the movies over and over again, like I don't watch other movies a lot. So like when I go to see like a Bond, like a new Bond movie, I'm like, wait, who's that? Do I know the history there? So like it's tough.
Well, the way I do it for a lot of people is like if you're kind of trying to jump on the fast train now, start at Fast 5, which back when I started saying it wasn't too much of a endeavor. But now it's just the same. Fast 5 is now about to be the middle, where it's the same. It would have been the same distance back when, like, this was something I was saying around 7 and Fate. Like I was like, oh, you could just start at Fast 5, and that way you only got a few movies to watch. But now, if you're coming in at 10, and I'm like, you can start at Fast 5, that's still 5 movies you're gonna have to barrel through.
And like 5 was the first one that I've seen. I've talked about this a lot, and like I was just like, oh, this is a franchise that I didn't think was for me, because I'm not really a car guy. But I came in at 5. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I went back and watched the other ones. But I do think like you're right. Like you could just sort of start with 5, because 4 is like a reboot, and 5 is like, hey, we're kind of rebooting in a way again. Like you don't have to see 4. So yeah, I think you're spot on with that.
I mean, but it is interesting because like as I'm flipping between the different, Fast and Furious movies and realizing why they're going as long as they have. I mean, they have like just been making money. Like, you know, Fate of the Furious made, 1.2 billion. Furious 7 made 1.5 billion. If we're talking points, Ja Rule really did fumble the bag to an nth degree and is smacking himself. But like I said, and we'll give him credit for, back in Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, there was no way you thought you were going to make it. I mean, that movie made 236 million, and Fast and Furious before that didn't make that much either. So to know that he was going to do that, it's just such a wild ride.
Do you think, looking ahead, because like you said, these movies make crazy amount of money. They're not going to stop them anytime soon. But looking at the ones that they have announced, 10 and, again, either 11 or 10 Part 2 or whatever, do you think Hobbs will come back? Is The Rock going to come back? Because we thought for a while it was wrestling showmanship. That was just like, oh, no, like this is like going to be, like they're just building it up. But now it kind of feels like there's actual bad blood there. But I don't see a future. I don't see a way the franchise ends without Hobbs coming back, but it also feels like that might not actually happen. So what do you think, if you're laying odds in Vegas, what do you think? Is Hobbs coming back to one of these movies?
Look, if this was before Justin Lin walked away from his own movie because Vin Diesel was being difficult, I would say maybe. That was my theory of the big 10 reveal that we were going to get, was that at some point Hobbs was going to pull up and we were going to lose our shit because Hobbs was there. But I don't see, if I was Dwayne and I don't like Vin, there's no way I'm gonna let that man direct me.
Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah, I mean, I get that he's like, I don't think he's gonna be the director, like the actual director, but you're right.
But he's
pretty
pulling
much
the strings, right?
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
The master. Yeah.
So I don't think he's gonna get to teach him how to act again, like he did when he did what did he like when he retold The Rock, he taught him how to act. Yeah,
Jesus.
And calling him like little brother and stuff, right? Like it's just
it's over. It's definitely over.
So if he's not in, and obviously they keep bringing John Cena back, and
Jason
Momoa now here, and Ratcatcher from Suicide Squad, and other people are all they're adding more and more people. Is there someone who has not been in the movies before that you would like to see in the Fastiverse? Is there one actor, either like a superstar or just like a cool person who would fit? Is there someone that you would lose your mind? When I saw this movie in theaters, when I saw 6 in theaters, and they go to the credit scene and Statham pops out the car, I literally stood up in the theater and put my arms over my head in victory. I cannot believe that they got the perfect fit. So I lost my mind there. But is there someone like that for you that if they sort of secret surprise drop them in at the end of 10 or in the beginning of 11 or whatever, who do you want to see in this franchise? Who is a perfect fit? Who would you lose your mind over if they join the Fast family?
That's a good question.
Because there's a lot of good answers.
Yeah, because I feel like, I've already showed my love to Idris, and that would be tight.
Yeah.
But, I feel like, we might be seeing that. He's already kind of in the movie, so it feels, cheap to even mention that. So I think it'd be fun to see, and I'm sure there's a fanfic out there somewhere where we get Ryan Gosling, if not playing his character for Drive, but very much doing the thing where actors are playing that, and you're like, y'all really wanted his character from this other movie, but y'all legally couldn't do it. So this is just a very thin representation.
Well, what do you think in that regard? What do you think of in Hobbs and Shaw, where they're in the garage and Statham as Shaw points to the Mini Cooper? He's like, "Oh yeah, that's for a job I did in Italy." It's like, so is he handsome Rob from Italian Job?
Yes, exactly.
Does that work for you, or you or is it like?
Yeah, no, I'm with it. Yeah, that works. If we do that, if there's a scorpion jacket that he has hung up, he goes, I don't wear that no more.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I don't wear those anymore.
Oh man, you know what also would work very nicely is that Han is there in the garage and he's sad because Giselle's not around still. And instead of eating, Gosling comes up and just gives him a toothpick because his character's got a toothpick through all of Drive. Just hey, use one of these. I've been using these for a while. She's like, oh my God, it's the guy from The Thing.
Yeah.
Now that you're saying this, and I've been watching like a ton of F1, I'm surprised there hasn't been an F1 driver cameo that like Dom beats in a race.
I know that F1 is huge now, but like was F1? I feel like even in the last year it got a lot bigger. So like it was big,
In America,
obviously.
but
Yeah.
like internationally huge. But I'm saying like even if it was any type of like race car driver, like a NASCAR driver, anyone.
There's no better time than now than to have him have Lewis Hamilton show up, because
Sure.
I think that is the most famous driver right now. And I stand Lewis too. So
Right? Can you imagine it if like there's a race and he's like, ha ha, like, and Dom clearly beats a guy, and then like Lewis Hamilton gets out of the car and he's like, I knew I wouldn't win, or so, like you'd be like, come on, man, like that's the coolest shit ever.
here's my Lewis Hamilton cameo for Fast and Furious is, it's the end of the movie, and Tej and Rome are in the car, and they won, they got a bunch of money from the heist or so, whatever, and Rome is trying to put the put his rings on. He has these gaudy rings, and Tej says like, how you expect to drive with all that jewelry?
Yeah.
And then Lewis Hamilton pulls up. It's like, zzz, and he was like, I'll do it just fine. And then they're like, you ready? And then they race. Because if you didn't know, that's the big drama around Lewis Hamilton, is because F1, surprise, surprise, seems to find ways to be racist in unnecessary ways and try to like ban Lewis Hamilton from wearing jewelry.
Yep.
Which is so weird. Like, it's the most weird, because like, I'm like, that is your fan base, is all these men who buy these watches and stuff like that,
yeah.
like, so that's my thing. They say a line about jewelry, and then Lewis Hamilton pulls up, dripped out, and goes, yeah, I think you're right. And then they race.
I Googled because I felt like the F1 fit is so natural that I was like, are we all forgetting something? Like, has there been a driver? And I don't think there has been.
No.
But if you'll remember, in September, I think, when was this? Yeah, September of last year, Vin went to the F1 Italian Grand Prix.
That's right.
And
I do
he was
remember
wearing a Fast and Furious shirt that said Toretto and O'Connor. And he put an Instagram up that said, the race, big things coming, #FX, #Italy, lead with love, Toretto, Fast Saga. So, like, he's
Interesting.
tweeting about the franchise from an F1 race. He obviously likes it enough to be there, to spend his time there. So, like, it could happen.
Yeah, it can. I mean, it's always it's always funny, because like, I feel like there is a world in which you can have a Fast universe that is amazing and thriving, and they just fumble it every time. Like, the Fast and Furious video game sucked so much ass. And that's truly a layup. Like literally you can almost reskin Need for Speed and do well, and somehow they still fucked it up.
Yeah, I mean, they did do a Forza Motorsport, like, I think it was either Horizon or, I don't remember. They did I think it was a free download of Fast and Furious Forza or something a couple years ago, but that was like a mini, like, you could do everything in like 2 hours. So, I don't know. Yeah, it does feel like, we covered the game on here when it came out, and, we like the story of it, but the actual mechanics, it just does feel like, there are a lot of good racers out there. I don't know. Any other thoughts? Anything else about Fast and Furious 6 that you want to share? Favorite moments, least favorite moments, things we've not covered that you want to share your thoughts on?
I think it's just the famed, longest runway. Like, that was fun, but it was like an interesting action sequence, right? But it just the math wasn't mathing on that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was too long. But I really did like the race on the freeway. I as much as I make fun of it, I do love Dominic Toretto smashing into the car to fly across and grab it. I'm like, that is the fast physics that I expect and want in all the movies.
It doesn't have to make sense to all movies. Just make sense within the universe of these movies.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Joe, do you have any other thoughts about Fast and Furious 6?
No, it was interesting watching it from the perspective, like we were talking about, of like who your thief heist squad character is. And it's also been a while since we watched a Fast and the Furious movie, so it was pretty joyful to watch
know.
it this time. Yes, I felt really good. So
The only thing that I picked up this time that I'd never seen before or heard before, I guess, and I'm sure I heard it, but I don't know if I thought
Go
about
ahead.
it. But
can
in
I
the
say it
beginning-
before you do? Oh no, go ahead. You're gonna say something different. I was
What
gonna
were
say
you gonna
this is the time that I noticed that Tyrese gets the fuck in this movie.
Oh no, I've heard that. That's one where it's,
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Because if we always get, we're always, that's one of the things we also guess. It's like, who's gonna get the one fuck in the movie? Because of PG-13, you get one of them, and Tyrese doesn't. It gets it in this one. If a woman says no or whatever, it gives you that look, back the fuck off. But
Yeah.
what I picked up on this time is when they get to the base or the headquarters or whatever, and they have all of the DSS money and they have all the toys and all the tech and whatever.
Yeah.
Tej laughs. He talks about like how they hit the jackpot. This is all good. And he talks about it's not like that trash in Rio. And I'm like, dude, you just use that trash in Rio to score over $100 million. Like, show it a little bit of love. Like, maybe it's not as nice as this, but like, it's not trash. Like, you did the biggest heist you've ever done. Show it a little bit of love. So I was just like, come on, respect. Dance with the one that brought you.
Exactly. But it is so like, also like other things that just was like, oh, this is interesting that we're trying to shuffle along. But like when you have Hobbs show up to Vin's, secret villa, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna beg me? You're gonna beg me to do this, Cass?" And we had to have the line to explain why this is allowed, which is her was like, "If that was my husband, I would." So I don't think so. I'd be like, "Yeah, nah, we built something here, but are you sure that it's her?"
Well, like, it's also at the end of the movie where she's like, "Oh, well, Letty's back. I gotta go." It's like, do you really love him, or are you just like, he's just all she says to Letty is just like, "Keep him out of trouble, right?" And Letty's like, "That's not gonna happen." She's like, "I know," and then she just leaves. But apparently she's pregnant because obviously baby Brian comes later. But it's just like, I don't know. It's a weird dynamic.
Yeah. Also, that's another thing. Yeah, you didn't think to be like, "Hey, I'm pregnant." Let's figure this out. Let's figure out some co-parenting.
I don't know. All right, Ify, are you ready to find out which Fast and Furious character you are?
Yeah, of course.
So we created a personality quiz, sort of like a J14 BuzzFeed style quiz. We had found one years ago that was fine, but we didn't really like it. So we made our own. So there are 7 questions. They're just personality based. It's all opinion, whatever it describes or reflects you best. 6 answers per question. I will read them off to you. Pick whichever one applies to you. Explain yourself or don't. And we'll find out which of the 25 characters you are. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it. I'm ready.
Question number 1, Ify, how fast are you? NASCAR, roller coaster, Lamborghini Murcielago, Toyota Prius, Vespa, or Razor scooter? How fast are you?
We'll say the Lamborghini.
Okay. Question number 2, you know it's coming. How furious are you? The Hulk, Kylo Ren, Christian Bale in that one set that one time, Mel Gibson, Charlie Brown, or Jack McBrayer?
I'm going to say Christian Bale on that one set that one time because it takes me a while to bubble up. You're going to have to catch me in the moment.
But when you blow, you blow.
Yes. When I blow, I blow.
I don't know why I said it like that, but
no, you said it how it needed to be said.
It felt right in the moment. And then as soon as I was saying the words, I was like, oh no, this is wrong. All right. Question number 3, we're having a barbecue. How are you helping? Are you manning the grill? Are you saying grace? Are you kicking back with a beer? Are you babysitting? Are you being the entertainment? Or are you sneaking a snack?
Oh, I'm manning the grill for sure.
Cool. Question number 4, you've got time to kill. What are you doing? Are you grabbing a bite? Working on your car? Hanging with friends? Drinking a beer? Working out? Or doing some work on your computer?
Oh, I'm definitely working out.
Okay. Describe your wedding. I'm never getting married. It's just me and my partner. It's us and our families. It's a backyard country affair. Everyone I know is there. I don't remember.
I'm going to say everyone I know is there.
I heard the I don't remember line finally in this one. Like the actual, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's powerful, man.
I know,
Powerful line.
The delivery and everything. I love it.
Question number 6, you just won the lottery. Congratulations. What are you buying? Your own garage, a private plane, I'm gambling it all away, my child at home, a fleet of cars, or a new life?
I'm going to say a new life. I'm going to get a nice drippy life.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have 8 characters within a couple points of each other, so this last question will really, truly decide it all. What is your drink of choice? Belgian ale, Corona, something fruity, water, whatever's cheapest, or just, Joe's getting a drink at the bar. Give me one of whatever you're having.
Ooh, I think I'm going to go with the Belgian ale.
I think you're going to be excited about this based on your love for him earlier. If you are Brixton, you are Idris Elba as Brixton.
Oh, look at that. Let's go. Yes, I love it.
If you are ruthless, but that isn't a bad thing. Life is a struggle, and anyone who wants to make the most of it must be willing to make some tough choices to become the best version of themselves. You are constantly striving to do that, and it's your dream to see everyone else reach their potential too, even if people don't always know what's best for them. You're fiercely loyal to your beliefs and to the people who share them, and you believe that disloyalty is an unforgivable offense. Some might see you as too hardlined, but that's because most people are too weak in their resolve. It's not your job to think that at their level, they should rise to yours. And you drive like the wind blows. Does that sound like you, kind of? A little bit?
Yeah, that sounds exactly like me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you are Brixton, so congratulations, Mr. Brixton.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad that's me, because it is me.
We have one more game to play. It's called This Ain't No 10-Second Race, a.k.a. Boy Do We Have a Podcast for You. So this is where we go on twitter.com, a.k.a. the Bird app.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Come and check out our show. Yeah.
And we find any tweet from someone we don't know, and we respond to them from the Too Fast, Too Forever account, saying, boy, there's a podcast for you, and linking them to the show. So if you have not found one yet, take a little time on Twitter, find a tweet of someone just, tweeting about the movies, about the actors, about cars.
Some things you think, Idris, whatever you want, bud.
The goal is, their scoring system is that if they respond, if they reply, if they like, if they retweet, whatever, there's points. It is so wildly difficult that if they don't take offense, but find the tweet. But I'm going to review last episode, which we did like a month ago.
Yeah.
With Grant Ridner, we talked about Fast 5. So I'm going to open these tweets, and he did 2. He did one for charity. But Joe, first up, I found Dan Hernandez at Cuban Missile DH.
Okay.
Who quote tweeted the F9 trailer saying, if I were Dom and my old friends wanted to visit, I'd be like, I love you guys. But whenever you come over, we end up going on a world-spanning heist adventure that is both fast and furious. So let's just set a weekly Zoom instead. And we said, can you really picture Dom using Zoom? We can't. Boy, do we have a podcast for you, and nothing. Joe, you found Carrie at Simply Charisma, just a boy in his car, heart emoji. For Christmas this year, we gave Dominic Toretto's car, and we finally got it out of the box and took it for a drive, and parentheses, and yes, we named Dominic after the legend Dom from the movie Fast and Furious, since John and I are big fans, and a picture of her son playing with a car. And we said a couple that names their child after hashtag family is hashtag family to us. Boy, do we have a podcast for you, and little Dom, parentheses, eventually. And Joe, Carrie liked and retweeted. So you get 3 points.
Thank you, sir. Perfect.
You are up to 67 points. You are re-expanding your lead up from me. I'm still at 45.5.
All right. Well, the tweet I found is from J.D. Thorne Film, who says, The Fast and the Furious premiered on this day in 2001, which means it is now officially of drinking age. Salud, mi familia. Hashtag Fast 21st at Fast Family. Hashtag Fast and Furious.
All right, so if you were going to respond to this, how would you like to customize this tweet? Or we could just say, boy, have a podcast to you, but is there a message that you want to send to J.D. Thorne?
Thanks for starting the celebration. The next Corona's on us.
Ooh.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
That's
Thanks
good.
For starting
That's
the
good.
celebration. The next Corona's on us. Joe, what did you find? You want to read your tweet?
Yes, I do. Mine is from Ellie Rose, at Ellie Rose A Guest. Always have and always will be the biggest fan of Fast and Furious. Shrug emoji and okay emoji. I would like to tell Ellie, you may be in contention, but we have some bones to pick with you. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Or something along those lines, like playfully, like we are also giant fans type situation.
Wait, what bones do we have to pick with her?
That she says she's the biggest fan of Fast and Furious. That we are also giant fans. Like something like we are also giant fans.
I was
of
say
Fast
you
and
maybe you can
Furious.
touch. We're gonna have to compete with us! Exclamation point.
There you
We'll
go.
do a
Perfect.
podcast for you.
Yes.
Okay. I also do want to say that Grant got 1 point last time too, which is very exciting. So Grant has 1 point. He's on the board.
Cool.
I found Danielle at Danielle Lucamp on Twitter. This is from last year. It really amuses me that the only person in the Fast and Furious franchise who has stayed dead is Gina Carano. And then she replies and says, "Oh wait, Gal too." I'm going to say she was on the wrong team, bitch. Voice podcast for you.
Nice.
Amazing.
Very
Amazing.
good response. I really liked it.
But Ify, thank you so much for joining us. This was a
thank
pleasure
you.
to have you. Thank you for joining us and talking about these
anytime.
fast films.
Yeah, no, anytime I'll come back, I'll do another one. I love these films.
We had Drea on. We even had Mary Jo on. And we were like, hey, Alonzo, we would love to have you on. And Alonzo's like, I'm done with those movies. But he came on for a Christmas movie. It was wonderful. But he's just like, I don't want to talk about these. So we love to have someone. I mean, Alonzo was awesome. We loved Alonzo. But to have someone to complete the set, as we were saying, but also for you to love these films so much, it was a true pleasure. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Is there anything you'd like to plug? Where can our listeners find you? What are you up to? What do you want to share with our listeners?
Oh, yeah, I mean, look, Maximum Film, if you want to hear, a few of the folks you've heard before talk about movies together, Ify Nwadiwe on Twitter and Instagram to see what I'm up to and what I'm doing, because I'm usually doing too much.
Cool. Very, very cool. Well, Joe, next week we've got 2 episodes. We've got a bonus episode. We're doing a Patreon bonus episode of The Hot Rock from the 1970s, which I've not seen, but I've heard really good things about. The Hot Rock.
No.
And then a movie I think you've seen, I think you really like. We're doing our next regular episode, Pit Stop for Everyone, is 2017's Logan Lucky, the Steven Soderbergh movie Logan Lucky, with our boy Channing Tatum in the lead. So
I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters, I don't think so.
Oh, I've seen it 2, 3, or 4 times. It's great. I love it. I love it so much.
Cool. Good.
So very, very exciting.
Yeah.
But for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you can go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFastTooForever.com and our store at TooFastTooForever.shop. And come back next week for the Hot Rock bonus episode and then Logan Lucky. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And that was Ify Nwadiwe, and we will tell you all about it
When we see you again.
Ooh.